"This will be your room from now on," Teacher Yvain muttered as she opened the door of a room. "Whoa, it looks so cool. Can I actually live here?" Nux muttered in amazement. Even without going inside, Nux knew that this was an amazing room. It was a lot better than the room he got as a student. Well, it was only natural after all. The academy is where all the students and the teachers live. Obviously, the treatment teachers get and the treatment students get are very different as well. One of the examples of different treatment can be the rooms where the two of them live. If students' rooms are comparable to the most lavish room in a barren household, the room for the teachers is comparable to the most lavish room in the marquee household. Yes, the difference was that big. Well, it was understandable as well. Most of the students are beginner or advanced stage cultivators. As for the teachers, the weakest teacher is a grand master stage cultivator. It is obvious that the two of them are treated differently. The room Nux received now was a room where teachers used to live. It was obvious that it would be many times better than his previous room. "Yes, you can live here," Teacher Yvain muttered. "Are you really sure, Teacher Yvain? I'm just a student and a commoner to boot. Are you sure I can live in such a lavish room? This is a room built for teachers, after all." Nux was still doubtful. Suddenly, a small smile appeared on Teacher Yvain's face, and she questioned back, "Do you know my full name?" "Of course I do. It is Yvain Skyfall." Nux paused as he finally realized something. "Yvain Skyfall. Yes, Skyfall. The princess of the Skyfall Kingdom. Arranging something like this isn't hard for someone like me. Of course, most nobles, even the dukes, might not be able to arrange something like this in the Royal Academy because the Academy doesn't allow nobles to use their influence inside. However, in the end, the Academy still belongs to the royal family. There is no way they can stop me from doing something so small, so don't worry and live freely." Teacher Yvain's face then turned serious and she muttered, "As I said, I will protect you." "Thank you, Teacher Yvain." Nux bowed his head and thanked. Yvain nodded. She then pointed at the door of the room beside Nux's room and muttered, "This is my room. If you have any problems, you can come to me. Of course, I believe you will respect the basic manners and will only come to me if it's something really urgent. I can trust you with that, correct?" "Yes, teacher," Nux exclaimed with a big smile on his face. This time, he was actually happy. Yvain didn't impose any rules on him. This meant that she looked at him in a positive light. That is a good piece of news. Of course, that doesn't mean he can just barge into her room whenever he wanted. He needs to keep up a good image. Therefore, he needs to take things slowly, just like he always does. Slow and steady wins the race after all. "All right, I still have some work to do, so I will be leaving. You can check your room or you can join other classes. It is all up to you." "Yes, teacher." Nux nodded with a smile on his face, and Teacher Yvain finally left. Normally, the Decade 2 Prodigy class have to attend 4 classes. However, other than Yvain's class, the rest of the classes are taken by male teachers. Therefore, Nux didn't bother going into their class. It's not like he can learn something from someone who is weaker than him. It is pretty much a waste of time. It is better to do something else now that he has time. A small smile then appeared on Nux's face, and he walked out and found a friend. "Senior Manya." Nux waved. "Oh, come on, didn't I tell you to call me Manya? We're in the same decade after all." "Ha ha ha," Nux laughed. "So, are we roaming around today as well?" "Of course." "Ha ha ha, you look happy for some reason." "What? Is that a bad thing?" "Of course not." The two of them talked and then continued to move around the academy. After that, Senior Manya went to her duty and Nux started hanging out with Anna and some other girls. No, he was not just wasting his time here. Well, hanging out with girls was a reason as well, but the main reason is that he was trying to find someone. However, no matter how much he tries and uses his sense, for some reason he cannot find the headmaster of the Royal Academy. That is what bothered him a little. Well, that is not the only reason why he was hanging around. He needs to look after other things. Information about Arvina Skyfall, for example. His plan had started after... This is boring, Allura muttered as she glanced at her ceiling with a bored look on her face. Tch, tch, what a pervert. To think you would act like this within a day, Etta snorted. Don't act like you're any better, Allura complained. Sister Etta, you shouldn't call someone else a pervert, Skyla nodded her head. Indeed, anyone can call me a pervert, but not you. I wouldn't be able to hear it if it comes from your mouth, Lane nodded in agreement as well. See that? Skyla and Lane understand. Seeing that the two of them supported her, Allura smiled. Tch, so what? At least I'm honest with my feelings. Seeing that the three of them teamed up against her, Etta snorted. Indeed, being honest with your feelings is a lot better than just lying around in the bed without doing anything, Thyra muttered. Of course, all the girls knew that this was an indirect jab at Allura. At least it's better than having small bread. Allura wanted to use her usual weapon, however she turned silent when she realized that one of her team members would be affected by her attack as well. Guys, can you shut up? I'm still working, you know, Felberta complained. You know you can shut off the telepathic connection, right? Etta questioned. Felberta turned silent. Of course, she knew that. Guys, I was wondering. Suddenly, Etta muttered. What? Allura questioned. What do you think about eightsome? What do you think about eightsome? Etta questioned, and her question was met by complete silence. No one spoke, until Allura decided to break that deafening silence. A pervert indeed. As expected of Sister Etta, Skyla nodded her head. Indeed, I think only Etta has the guts to say something like that. Felberta nodded her head as well. Never. I will never do an eightsome, let alone 8. I won't do a threesome either. Amaya was the one who spoke. Tisk, tisk, why are you so against it? Etta questioned. Humph, Nux is mine, only mine. I know I can't have him all to myself since he'll keep attracting hoes like you, but when we are on the same bed, Nux is only mine, Amaya retorted. Right now, Nux's women were talking to each other with the telepathic connection provided by Harem Seal. Yes, all 7 women were talking to each other. It will take some time before they all meet, therefore this was indeed a good idea. Who started it? Surprisingly, it was Amaya. Apparently, the woman contacted everyone to ask about Nux's likes and dislikes. Soon, the discussion went so deep that even Nux's women were confused. Therefore, they started discussing it among themselves. More and more women then joined the discussion, and eventually it evolved into this. Amaya called it harem meet, and harem meet had only one rule. Nux wasn't allowed to join it. It was the girls' secret meeting behind his back. Of course, what the girls didn't know was that Nux already knew about this. Who told him? It was these girls. They promised each other not to tell anything about it to Nux. However, whenever they were alone, all of them told him about it, showing that they were the only ones who were on his side and asking for extra rewards. They just cannot hide anything from Nux at all. Tisk, tisk, we were his women before you, okay? You are the one who should be called a hoe for coming and sharing our man, Etta retorted. Amaya, of course, decided to ignore this statement. She won't speak if she is in a disadvantageous position. She was not that dumb. You guys, how was last night? Allura questioned, and again, everyone turned silent. Bad. This time Lane decided to break the silence. Bad indeed. I need Nux, Etta groaned. I need Nux, all for myself, Amaya muttered. Guess who it is? Tisk, tisk, just look at you guys. Can't you control yourself just a little? It has only been a day. How are you guys going to survive for a whole week? Thyra couldn't help but shake her head in disappointment. You're right. A week is a little too long, Skyla pouted. Too long indeed. Lane nodded as well. I'm sure he must have his reasons. You guys know him as well.
He would never do something like this without a proper reason. Remember, the Academy has a king stage expert holding the ground. He needs to be a little more cautious, since we don't know if conceal would work or not, Thyra muttered with a serious look on her face. Yes, after joining the Academy, Nux informed all his women that he won't leave the Academy and visit them for a week since there's something he has to deal with. Of course, although the women groaned, they understood that things might be a little tricky and nodded. Yes, I understand, Felberta nodded. Sister Thyra, you can think logically like this. I am very impressed. You are indeed worthy of being my teacher, Skyla praised, and a small smile appeared on Thyra's face. Humph, what's so great about that? Remember, I stayed alone for 3 whole weeks, Allura snorted. That is praiseworthy indeed, Allura. My respect for you has increased a little, Amaya muttered. So what? We stayed without him for a month. Felberta lifted her chest in pride while she continued reading the documents in front of her. Seeing her sudden act, Joyab frowned in confusion. However, then he decided to shake his head and ignore it. It's not the first time Lady Felberta is acting like this. Actually, he is just happy that she's actually doing her work now. Indeed, we controlled ourselves for a month, Lane and Skyla nodded. Hey, what do you guys think of Sister Arvina? Suddenly Skyla questioned. You're already calling her sister? Amaya noticed. Of course. You think she can resist Nux? Skyla questioned again. Well, she is known to be a man-hater, Amaya countered. You think she can resist Nux? Skyla questioned again. No, Amaya admitted. So, Sister Arvina it is, Skyla smiled cheerfully. So, what do you guys think about her? She questioned again. As I said before, she's known to be a man-hater and loves fighting, Amaya, who knew the most about her, informed. She's an expert stage cultivator, right? Etta questioned. Yes, Amaya nodded. So, is it safe to assume that Nux will become an expert stage cultivator soon? Etta questioned. Yes, Amaya nodded again. Hee, Sister Thyra, your title of the strongest will be taken away soon, Skyla chuckled. Amaya, however, did not answer and stayed silent. Felberta sensed something and decided to change the topic. Amaya, what do you know about Yvain Skyfall? Nux has his eyes on her as well. Tisk, what a perverted womanizer, Etta snorted. Indeed. He is a pervert. Tisk, my bad luck that I fell in love with a pervert. All of the women agreed. It doesn't matter. It's his charm, but you guys just won't understand. She's a gone case indeed. Allura couldn't help but shake her head when she heard Amaya's words. Love makes one blind, Skyla muttered like an old man who has lived his whole life and now is teaching life lessons to others. It won't. Suddenly, Thyra muttered. Huh? What? My title of the strongest. It is not going anywhere. My title as the strongest. It is not going anywhere, Thyra muttered as her eyes shined in determination. Although the rest of the women couldn't see her face, they could still feel the strength and confidence behind those words. I will become an expert stage cultivator before Nux can meet Arvina, and then... Suddenly, Thyra's voice turned weak, and she mumbled, Then he will become an expert stage cultivator with my help. I really want to see your face right now, Sister Thyra, Skyla muttered. Yeah, she must be as red as a tomato. Etta chuckled. Tisk, to think someone like her would have such a cute side to her, Allura commented. The rest of the girls passed their comments as well. However, deep inside their hearts, they all acknowledged Thyra's words and hoped that her words come true. Even Allura, whose relationship with Thyra wasn't the best, was thinking the same thing as was wishing for her success. I believe in you, Sister Thyra, Lane muttered. Thank you, Sister Lane. Thyra nodded with a small smile on her face. She then rolled over her bed and her smile widened. She was imagining how Nux would act when she appeared in front of him as an expert stage cultivator. Bam! Suddenly, Thyra heard a voice and quickly came out of her reverie. She quickly sat up and noticed that Skyla had entered her room, and she was looking at her with a smile on her face. Tisk tisk, she is indeed red like a combito. She's rolling on her bed while thinking about lewd stuff, Skyla informed all others. Why are you inside my room? Thyra questioned. Hey, I can't miss this now, can I? Skyla smiled adorably. You? Then Thyra quickly dashed toward Skyla, and Skyla froze. You guys, save me, she asked for help. Although her cultivation was the same as Thyra's, the gap between their skills was too wide. She was not even close to Thyra when it came to strength. Of course, none of the girls helped her either. All they did was break the connection with Thyra and Skyla and continued their conversation. Amaya, when are you going to carry on with your plan? Suddenly, Allura questioned in a solemn tone. Soon, Amaya answered in a serious voice. Don't waste too much time. It has already been a week now. The more you push it, the more suspicious will you become. Yes, I know. I will initiate my plan 2 days later, Amaya answered, and Allura nodded. That's good. Don't waste too much time and be careful, Edda muttered as well. Yes, be careful. Don't hesitate to use your power if you need, Lane suggested as well. Ask for help if you want. Although we are not very strong, we aren't weak either, Felberta muttered. Don't worry, I'm sure I won't need your help, Amaya answered with a confident smile on her face. It's not like any of my plans have ever failed before. Tisk tisk, how arrogant, Felberta snorted. It is only arrogance when you can't back it up. Sure. Hey, I was just wondering. Suddenly, Edda muttered. What? What do you guys think about eightsome? Sister Felberta, are you finished with your work? Allura questioned. No, I still need to work for 3 more hours before I get my break. This is tiring, Felberta answered. Is there any way I can help, Sister Fel? Lane questioned. No need. I can do this on my own, Felberta answered. Yes, they decided to completely ignore Edda. That was the wisest decision possible. Thyra and Skyla joined the conversation a few minutes later as well, and all the women continued to talk to each other. This is how Nux's women spent their time when Nux wasn't here, each doing whatever they were doing while talking to each other through telepathic connection. The harem meeting was a quite interesting meeting indeed. Of course, more members would join this meeting in the near future. The next day, in the morning, Nux was sitting inside his class, and like what usually happens, today he was surrounded by the boys who were trying to talk to him. Hey, tell us, how did you manage to sleep knowing that Teacher Yvain is sleeping in the room next to yours? Yeah, did you feel your heart racing? Did you feel that your heart would just explode right away? Did you enter Teacher Yvain's room? Did you see her in a dress other than her usual attire? The boys continued to shoot questions at Nux, and he frowned. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but knowing that Teacher Yvain was sleeping in the room next to me filled my heart with a sense of security, and I had a good sleep. Hearing his answer, the boys turned silent. Oi, you think you can fool us like that? You were the last person who would have such innocent thoughts in his mind. Stop acting and tell us how it was. I seriously don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm not lying about anything. You think... All right, you guys, this is enough. You should leave him alone. Anna, who noticed that Nux was a little uncomfortable, decided to interfere. Yes, Nux is not like you perverts. Don't spoil his innocent mind with your presence. Indeed, you guys should just shoo away, you perverts. Don't disturb him. The other girls decided to not let Anna gain advantage and stepped forward as well. Yes, I have no clue what you guys are talking about. You should leave. Nux nodded as well. The faces of the boys in the classroom twitched in annoyance. Nux, however, didn't care about them and turned towards the girls. "You guys are free today in the afternoon, right?" "Of course, we can't miss our usual walk around the academy, can we?" one of the girls answered. Nux smiled. Bam! However, just as he was about to nod, the doors of the classroom were smashed open and a beautiful blue-haired girl entered the classroom. Seeing the girl, a smile appeared on Nux's face. "Heh, so you finally decided to come here, huh? As I expected."
Bam! The doors of the classroom were burst open and a beautiful blue-haired girl entered. Just like her hair, her eyes were blue as well. Combined with her light pink lips and well-structured face, the girl's beauty topped every single female student that was present inside the classroom. It's Lady Candace. Wow, why is she in our class? Who knows, but we sure are lucky today, aren't we? Female and male students alike, all of them glanced at Candace as their eyes shined brightly. Even Anna wasn't any different. Why is Lady Candace here? She wondered inwardly, just like every other student. Candace, however, completely ignored these murmurs and looked around. "Who is Nux Leander?" she questioned. Nux, however, did not answer. Of course, him answering or not did not matter. There were countless people in the class who wanted to get into Candace's good books. He is Nux Leander," one of the boys pointed at Nux. Candace then turned towards Nux and observed him closely. "Are you Nux Leander?" A small smile then appeared on Nux's face as he answered, "Girl, I think we should get to know each other first. I understand that I am handsome and all, but think about all this from my perspective. I do not even know who you are. How can I accept your proposal? I think we should start by being friends." Candace Waters turned silent. The whole class turned silent as well. Candace, who couldn't believe her ears, questioned, "What did you say?" "Oh, come on. Don't act like you are heartbroken. I am not rejecting your love. I just said that we should get to know each other." "You think I am here to confess my love to you?" Candace questioned. "I mean, isn't that the only reason you would approach me for? I don't know who you are. We have never met before, so I believe the only logical conclusion is that you somehow saw me and were entranced by my good-looking face. Then you couldn't control yourself and came to me to confess your love and give yourself to me. Oh, and don't be too embarrassed. It is not the first time something like this has happened, although other women weren't as bold as you to barge in directly into my class. They still proposed to me when I was alone, so don't worry, you are not alone," Nux answered, and then calmed her down with a gentle smile on his face. He was an expert in knowing how to win a girl's heart. However, his magic did not seem to have worked on Candace, as her eyes turned cold and she questioned, "Do you even know who you are talking to?" "Are you the daughter of the king?" Nux questioned with a smile. "Huh? No, of course not." "Daughter of the academy's headmaster?" "No." "Daughter of the general of the Skyfall Kingdom?" "No." "Any of the dukes?" "No, I am not." "A marquis?" "Yes." "I see," Nux nodded, and then he frowned. "If you are just the daughter of a mere marquis, then how the fuck am I supposed to know who you are?" Again, the entire class turned silent. "Where the fuck do you get the confidence of saying that when you yourself are nothing but a commoner?" Some of the students thought inside their minds and cursed. "A rogue fucker. Know your place, commoner." All the students, especially boys, started cursing Nux in their hearts. "Are you the one who assaulted Marill Berkey yesterday?" Candace questioned. "Are you here for that incident?" Nux questioned. Inside his head, he was patting himself for working so hard. Attacking and bullying Marill was satisfying, but he didn't do it just because he wanted fun. His main target was Candace Waters. Candace Waters is known to be someone who is very overprotective of her subordinates. Therefore, bullying Marill was a straight challenge to Candace. She had to come here, and that is what Nux needed. As to why he is targeting Candace,
He had his reasons. Yes, Candace nodded. Wait, are you that Candace Water? Suddenly, Nux's eyes widened in surprise. Do you recognize me now? Candace questioned with a small, satisfied smile. No, never heard of someone like that in my entire life. Nux shook his head, and Candace's face twitched in frustration. So, are you a Decade 3 student? Nux questioned. Yes, I am. Ah, then you must be new here just like me. I am sorry to tell you, but this is Decade 2, Prodigy class. To get to Decade 3, you walk out of this classroom, then you turn left, then a right, then another right, and then you ask someone else where the Decade 3 class is, because I do not know that as well. Candace, lips twitched in frustration and anger as she glared at Nux with hatred. Hey, don't look at me like that. As I said, I am new here as well. I know this academy as much as you do. Don't change the topic and answer my question. Are you the one who assaulted Muriel Berkey? Candace controlled her anger and questioned again. Wait, are you and Muriel... Nux wanted to change the topic again and waste a little more time. However, his sense quickly picked up what he was waiting for, and a small smile appeared on his face. Are you talking about the incident where Muriel tried to attack me and was then got thrashed by me? Are you talking about the incident where Muriel tried to attack me and was then got thrashed by me? Nux questioned with a small smile on his face. Candace narrowed her eyes and questioned. Are you admitting that you were the one behind it? Of course not. I was merely defending myself, Nux answered. Oh, you were just defending yourself. Then how did Muriel end up with a medic? Because he was weak. I mean, we two fought each other. It is obvious that the weaker one would end up in the care of a medic, is it not? So you were admitting that you fought against Muriel? A small smile appeared on Candace's face as she questioned. Why? You think I was in the wrong? Nux questioned back. You not only fought against your classmate, you even dared to use a skill inside the classroom and gravely injure your classmate. Of course you're in the wrong. Nux nodded and then questioned again. So you think I am wrong and I should be punished, is that correct? Yes, you gravely injured your classmate, so you should be punished. According to me, you should be expelled from the academy for breaking the rules. However, before that, you should be forced to pay for all the medical fees that will be required for Muriel's treatment. Of course, I know that you are just a commoner and can't pay that astronomical amount of money, so I suggest you take a loan. Ah, so you want me to take a loan and then pay for it for the rest of my life. That should be the least you should do after doing something so horrible, Candace nodded. Her idealistic way of thinking was indeed a little messed up. So let me get this clear. You think that I was the one who was wrong, and you are here to serve justice. Yes, that is correct, Candace nodded. Then a small smile appeared on Nux's face as he commented, I didn't know students of the academy are smarter and more knowledgeable than the teachers. Huh? What do you mean? Candace questioned. Do you not realize it yet? Nux questioned. What? Why do you think I am still here in the academy after breaking a rule? This is because the teacher who was in charge of our classroom didn't think that I was wrong. Nux questioned and then answered at the same time. Then his smile widened and he questioned again. So, Candace Water, do you think that my teacher's decision was wrong? Do you think that my teacher is a fool who cannot distinguish between right and wrong? That is not what I meant, she muttered. Oh, then can you explain what you meant, Candace Water? Because from what I deduce, I can tell that you do not approve of my decision at all. Candace's eyes widened in surprise when she heard another voice behind her back. She then turned around and saw Teacher Yvain standing at the door looking at her with narrowed eyes. Teacher Yvain, Teacher, that is not what I meant. Nux smiled. He wasn't wasting all that time without any reason. He was waiting for Teacher Yvain to come and protect him. He can't show all his cards here after all. Then please explain what you meant, Candace Water. Teacher Yvain smiled, however, then her eyes turned cold. You have the audacity to enter my classroom and then blame a student for something that he had not done. Who do you think you are? The whole class turned silent. This was the first time they had seen Teacher Yvain being this angry in the last 6 to 7 years. Teacher Yvain, what? I was just here since you felt like what? That my decision was wrong? No, I just believe that things could have been done in a better way. Nux Leander did not have to attack Myril Borky. I heard that he easily subdued Myril, but even after that he first broke his ankle and then used Fireburst against him. I believe that the Academy should take action against him and his violent behavior. Candace tried to explain herself. Do you even realize what you are talking about? Teacher Yvain narrowed her eyes. Myril Borky tried to kill Nux. How do you expect him to be in a normal mental state after barely surviving like that? Teacher Yvain, we still don't have something that proves that Myril Borky was after Nux Leander's life, Candace countered. Oh, so you have proof proving that Nux was too violent against Myril, however you do not have proof that Myril used a Fireburst spell when the two of them were just 10 centimeters from each other? I do know that happened, Teacher Yvain, but we don't know for sure that that attack would be life-threatening for Nux, Candace countered again. So, you were telling me that you, a student who has an affinity with water element, know more about the Fireburst spell than me, a teacher who has an affinity with fire element? Teacher Yvain raised her eyebrow. Candace had no answers to her questions, and she turned silent. Candace Water, I do not know who gave you the galls to enter my classroom and do whatever you please. However, know this, Skyfall Royal Academy is not your playground. Know your place, Teacher Yvain bellowed in anger. Candace lowered her head in shame and gritted her teeth in anger. Now get out of my class before I kick you out of this academy, Teacher Yvain shouted. She was truly enraged today. However, instead of doing what she was ordered, Candace just stood there, motionless. Seeing this, Teacher Yvain was even more annoyed. Did you not hear what I said? She bellowed in rage. You can't. Suddenly, Candace mumbled. What did you say? Teacher Yvain frowned in confusion and questioned. I said you cannot. You cannot kick me out of this school no matter how hard you try. You do not have the power to do so. Candace raised her head and glared at Teacher Yvain. I said you cannot do it. You cannot kick me out of this school no matter how hard you try. You do not have the power to do so. Candace raised her head and glared at Teacher Yvain. Do not forget, Teacher Yvain, a single teacher cannot kick a student from the academy. Also, don't give me all that surname bullshit. I very well know that you are a Skyfall, the princess of our kingdom. However, my teacher is a Skyfall as well. Therefore, no teacher will side with you even if you use your status, because in the end, compared to a talented 22-year-old master stage cultivator and the future pillar of the kingdom, no one would be stupid enough to choose an 80-year-old grandmaster stage cultivator who has used up all her potential and can't bring any value to the kingdom other than teaching a few advanced stage cultivators. She spat viciously, and Teacher Yvain turned silent. This time, the students in the classroom frowned. If it was anything else, they would support Candace, the queen of the Royal Academy, with all their heart. However, this time, she was against their teacher, and not a normal teacher, but the nicest teacher. Although Teacher Yvain was a princess and had a very high social standing compared to all the students, she has never been arrogant about it and treated every student gently. She treated students even better than other teachers do. The students respected her a lot as well. Therefore, now that the queen of the academy was standing against their teacher, they didn't like it one bit. A thought that Nux shared with the rest of his classmates. The teacher you were talking about, Is it teacher Arvina Skyfall? Nux questioned as he walked in front of Yvain. Huh? You are rather well informed, huh? Candace smiled. Yes, I am well informed about certain things. Therefore, I want to ask, are you sure you want to involve teacher Arvina Skyfall in this mess? Huh? What do you mean? Candace frowned. First, you barged into teacher Yvain's class. Then, you blamed one of her students and challenged her decision. As if this was not enough, you even dared to point your finger against teacher Yvain and called her someone who has used all her potential and mocked her job as her teacher. Does that mean you feel the same way for your teacher as well? Do you feel that your teacher, an expert stage cultivator, isn't bringing any value to the kingdom other than teaching a bunch of children? Nux questioned, and then he walked towards Candace and narrowed his eyes. Are you sure you want teacher Arvina Skyfall to hear this? Huh? I never said anything like this. You were just molding my words. Candace stepped back and pointed her finger at Nux. You may have not said anything about teacher Arvina, but doesn't your words already tell what you think about all the teachers in general? To be honest, I pity teacher Arvina. She went as far as to take you as her personal student. However, this is how low you think of her. Disappointing indeed. Nux shook his head and sighed. All right, let's do this. Let's call teacher Arvina here and have a big, lengthy discussion about what happened. Nux suggested, and then he turned towards Anna. Anna, can you please go and call teacher Arvina here? Yes, right away. Anna nodded, and just as she was about to rush out of class, Candace shouted, Wait! Anna paused. Candace then completely ignored Nux and walked towards teacher Yvain. Then she bowed her head and apologized. Teacher Yvain, I apologize for what I said in a fit of anger. I am still immature and would request you to be a bigger person and forgive me. I promise you that I will learn to control my emotions and keep my words in check. I really did not mean what I said before. Again, I apologize. All right, I forgive you. You can leave my class now. I need to continue with my lecture. Yvain sighed. Did she forgive her? Of course not. However, she had to teach. She doesn't have any time to waste on a 20-year-old child. Yes, teacher Yvain. Thank you very much. Candace bowed her head again, and then she walked away. However, before she left, she glanced at Nux, who just smiled at her provocatively. She gritted her teeth in annoyance and then left the classroom. Today, she had taken a big hit on her pride. She, Candace Water, the queen of the Royal Academy, the future pillar of the Skyfall Kingdom, had to bow her head in front of an entire classroom. A shameful act indeed. And this was all because of one student, one puny advanced stage commoner. Earlier, she just wanted him to pay the price for attacking her subordinate. However, now everything is personal. Candace wasn't planning to let that boy go with a lifelong debt. Now everything would be a lot worse than before. Keep an eye on that student named Nux Leander. As soon as he makes one single mistake, report it to me. She ordered the boy who had joined her after she left the classroom. Yes, Lady Candace. On the other hand, teacher Yvain continued with her lecture. However, with how she was delivering her lecture, it was clear that Candace's words have affected her in some way. The students, however, couldn't do anything about it and just look at each other helplessly. The class continued for more, and then, "All right, this will be it for today. We will continue this from tomorrow. Have a good day ahead, everyone," teacher Yvain muttered with a small smile on her face. However, just as she was about to leave, Nux raised his hand. "Teacher Yvain, I tumbled into a problem when I was using Fire Burst skill yesterday. Can you help me with it?" "Huh? You learned it already?" "Of course, I used it against Maril yesterday. Did you forget?" Nux answered with a smile. It was only then that most of the students realized what had happened. This fucking monster, he learned a 2-star skill in just 2 days? This is absurd. Even Teacher Yvain was shocked still. Teacher Yvain, can you help me with it? Nux questioned again. Sure. Come to my office. I will help you if I can.
Sure. Come to my office. I will help you if I can. Although she was confused about how Nux did it so quickly, Teacher Evan quickly came out of her reverie and nodded. It doesn't matter how he did it, rather it is a good thing that he is talented. Her student achieving higher heights is something that will fill her heart with happiness. Of course, she knows that someone as talented as Nux won't remain her student for long, but she would still feel satisfied as long as she had a hand in his growth. "All right, thank you very much, Teacher Evan," Nux boomed in joy, and just as he was about to follow Teacher Evan, a boy stood up. "Teacher Evan, I am also facing some difficulties with fire burst skill. I would like to come with Nux and learn from you as well." Nux turned towards the boy and noticed that the boy was looking at him with narrowed eyes. His expression was clear. "You bastard, you already live in the room right next to hers. Now you even dare to spend some time alone with her in her office? Over my dead body." Nux's mouth twitched in annoyance. There are really too many hindrances in this class. Soon, however, a small smile appeared on his face, and he countered. David, the thing is, I only got this skill 2 days ago. You have been here for a long time now. It is obvious that your mastery over the skill would be a lot better than mine. I don't think this session will help you in any way. I suggest you go to Teacher Evan tomorrow or any other day." The boy named David smiled as well. "Oh, no, that can't be true. I am not very good with this skill either. Also, I have seen you use this technique yesterday. I'm pretty sure you are around my level, so I'm sure this session with helping me a lot. Don't worry about it." His smile widened when he completed his sentence. "How is that, sucker? You think you can send me away?" David was sure that Nux had no way to reject him now. Of course, what he didn't know was that he was against someone who has never lost a battle of words. "Oh, come on, David. You don't have to act so humble in front of me. You aren't saying that you, who have been training and learning this skill for so many years now, have the same level of mastery as someone like me who only got this skill 2 days ago, are you?" Then Nux's smile widened as he questioned, "You can't be that big of a trash, can you?" David's mouth twitched in annoyance when he heard those words. Bastard. "Of course you aren't that bad, right, David?" Nux smiled even more. "Yeah, I guess I should stop being humble. Teacher Evan, since classmate Nux was the first one to ask you, I will back off today and will ask my questions at a later date." David turned towards Teacher Evan and forced a smile. Then he glanced at Nux and snorted in frustration. That bastard was really too good with words. Tisk, hateful man. The last thing he can do is admit that he was trash. His life would become a living hell if he does that. In the end, David just sat down on his seat with a dejected look on his face. Nux smiled, and then he walked towards Teacher Evan and smiled. "Teacher Evan, I will be following you then." "All right," Teacher Evan smiled, and under David's jealous gaze, Nux and Teacher Evan left the classroom. Nux?" As the two of them entered Teacher Evan's office, she muttered, "Yes, what is it, Teacher Evan?" "Thank you for standing up for me today," Teacher Evan smiled, and Nux was taken aback. She really was too beautiful. "You do not have to mention that, Teacher Evan. I just couldn't stand the fact that she had the galls to say all that to you, my savior. I will do the same thing if I have to. No one says anything disrespectful to my teacher and gets away with it," Nux snorted. Teacher Evan smiled,
However, then she warned him, "But you have to be careful against that girl, okay? She is quite popular in this academy. Also, she is incredibly strong and talented. I'm sure you must have heard about her." A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he questioned, "You will protect me if something happens, right, Teacher Evan?" Evan then shook her head and chuckled. "Don't depend on me, you fool. You should just be careful and not mess with her anymore." Nux chuckled as well. "Don't worry, Teacher Evan. I am a very careful person. I won't do something reckless." Evan seriously doubted what Nux just said. However, she didn't say anything out loud and continued. "All right, so what is your question?" "Ah, right." Nux then recalled what he was here for and smiled. "So the thing is, I know that Fireburst spell is strong, very strong. I have seen its effect firsthand. However, there are too many problems with it. First, it takes too much mana. Second, it takes too much time. I am trying to adjust it somehow, but I am unable to come up with a way." "You are already thinking of using it efficiently, huh?" Evan raised her eyebrow in surprise. "All right, I understand. You are correct about those faults. Fireburst indeed takes too much time and mana. However, there is a way to reduce that. Have you learned the one-star skill, Fireball?" Evan questioned. "Yes, I have." "Good. It will be easier then. So what you can do is that rather than making a huge fireball from the start, you can start with a simple fireball. Then, while you shoot, you can inject more mana into it so that it will burst when it collides with your target. Though this does sound like nothing special, it will help you a lot if you master it." Nux, however, just frowned in confusion. "I do not understand what you are trying to say, Teacher Evan." "All right, I guess that would be too complicated for someone who just started learning this technique. Let me slow it down a little." For the next few hours, Nux and Yvain continued to talk about Fireburst and how to use it efficiently. And the more they talked, the more impressed Nux got. Initially, he thought he won't be able to learn anything major and just wanted to spend some time with Yvain so that she gets more comfortable around him. However, soon, Nux realized something. Yvain has mastered the Fireburst skill, a 2-star skill to big achievement level. This was something that almost no Grand Master Stage cultivator would do. 2-star skills simply weren't worth the effort. It would be a lot better to learn a better, higher grade skill. However, Yvain still continued to learn it just so she could teach it to her students and help them in some way. A commendable attitude indeed. Yvain's image in Nux's heart rose by another level today. However, no matter what, Nux still had to end this conversation. "Ah, Teacher Yvain, I think I understand it now. He had already achieved his goal. He should act cautiously now so that he does not ruin his future plan." "Good job," Yvain nodded with a smile. "Teacher Yvain, I should leave now. I think I can increase my strength with this. It is a big discovery," Yvain exclaimed as his eyes shined with unconcealed happiness and excitement. "All right, I also have to take a class. You should leave now." Yvain chuckled as she saw him acting so excited. He was indeed an innocent and curious student. She liked him a little. "All right, Teacher Yvain, thank you for your help. You are the best teacher ever," Nux exclaimed, and then quickly left the office. Yvain's smile widened when she heard his words, and then she sighed. He is quick to catch on to things and is eager to learn more. He is a good student." Then Teacher Yvain closed her eyes for a little while and took a 15 minutes rest. Time passed, and Nux, who was in his room, continued to learn and experiment with the Fireburst skill. He didn't exactly care about this skill, however, he required it for the next set of his plans, therefore he worked hard for it. Just like this, 8 hours passed by, and Nux finally stood up. He then stretched his body and glanced outside the window. It was already night and the moon was out. A smile appeared on Nux's face. Perfect timing. He then left his room and knocked on the room next door. Click, click, click. A few seconds later, Yvain, who was wearing her pale yellow-colored nightgown, opened the door and frowned. "Nux, what happened? Why are you here?" Nux's eyes shined in delight as he exclaimed, "Teacher, I was finally able to do what you said. I used the fireball before using fireburst." Suddenly, Nux realized something. Teacher, I apologize. I was a little too excited and curious, so I came here without noticing the time. I apologize for disturbing you." He bowed. Yvain turned silent. Normally, she wouldn't talk to a student at a time like this, since obviously she needs to take out time for herself. However, for some reason, seeing Nux's excited face, Yvain couldn't control herself and muttered, "Would you like to discuss it inside my room?" "Huh?" Nux frowned and raised his head in confusion. "I mean, you're excited to share what you learned with me, correct?" "I am excited, but I understand it is time for your rest. You work hard for the whole day. I shouldn't bother you at the night." Yvain smiled and shook her head. "Don't worry, good students are never a bother for a teacher. Also, I am curious to see what you learned as well. Now come into my room. We should not disturb other teachers." Nux's smile widened and he nodded. "Teacher Yvain, you are the best teacher in the academy." Yvain chuckled, and then the two of them entered her room. Nux then started looking around and noticed that there were lots of paintings on the walls. Then his eyes fell on a painting on a canvas and paints, and his eyes widened in surprise. "Teacher Yvain, you painted that?" "I did. Do you like it?" "What about the paintings over there and the ones on the walls? Did you paint them as well?" "I painted them all," Yvain nodded. "Teacher Yvain, although I do not know much about the paintings, but I can say for certainty that these are the best paintings I have ever seen in my life." "You don't have to lie to me like that. These are not that good," Yvain chuckled. Normally, she would ignore compliments like these, since most of them are made to please her because of her status. However, this time, for some reason, she actually felt good for being praised like that. "I do not lie, Teacher Yvain. Your paintings are really good." Nux shook his head. All right, let's not talk about this right now. You were here because you wanted to show what you learned, correct? Let's start. I'm curious as well." Yvain changed the topic. She was bad at taking compliments, even though she is a princess. Nux smiled when he noticed that and nodded. "All right." Then a fireball appeared on the top of his hand and he continued, "As you said, we shouldn't make a big fireball from the start. Fireburst is a skill where you solidify a great amount of mana and then cover it with fire, and then you shoot it on your target, and once it collides, all the mana explodes. However, just like you said, the better way to use it is to make a fireball, then inject more mana into it, and—" Nux then injected mana into the fireball he created, and it shot towards the door. Boom! Your attack will work. This way, you will use less time, and since the mana wasted would be minimal, the output of the skill would be stronger. Nux muttered as his fireball disappeared into thin air before it could collide with the door. Teacher Yvain, who saw everything, couldn't help but blink her eyes in surprise. How did you do it so quickly?" "Hee, I still need to work on it a little, so I'll be depending on Teacher Yvain's help." Yvain and Nux talked about the fireburst skill and the way to improve it for the next 2 hours. However, then Yvain's eyes fell on the clock and she realized the time. "All right, Nux, it is already late at night. You should go and rest in your room. I need to rest as well." Nux frowned. He then looked at the clock and realized, is it that late already? I didn't realize it at all." Yvain chuckled. "It is good that you are eager to learn more, but now you should leave." "Yes, teacher." Nux smiled and then stood up. However, just as he was about to leave, he stopped. Yvain frowned. "What happened? Why did you stop? Do you need something?" Nux turned around with a red face and questioned in a mosquito-like voice, "Teacher Yvain, can I take that painting with me?" "Huh?" Yvain frowned. You don't have to give me, I can understand." Nux quickly shook his head and turned around. "No, it's all right, you can take it if you like it so much." Nux's eyes brightened up and he smiled. "Thank you, Teacher Yvain." Yvain smiled. Nux then picked up the said painting and left her room. After Nux left her room, Amelia smiled, and then she walked toward her bedroom with a lazy look on her face. Outside her room, Nux smiled as he glanced at the painting he took. Was he interested in the painting? Of course not. He was only interested in the painter, not the painting. Nux then walked into her room and contacted Amaya. "Amaya? Oh, you finally got the time to talk with me?" Amaya's response was lightning quick. It was as if she was waiting for him to start the conversation. "How are you doing, my beautiful and cute Amaya?" Nux questioned with a smile on his face. "Not good at all," Amaya answered. "It has been 2 days." And then she complained. All right, just a few more days, then I will make it up to you." "You better," Amaya pouted. "So, why did you contact me?" Amaya questioned. "Nothing much, I just wanted to tell you that your information about Yvain Skyfall was correct. She really likes to paint." "Huh, of course I am right. Why are you telling me something so obvious?" Just as Nux mentioned another girl, Amaya's tone changed. Nux already learned about her more than extra possessive traits after talking and staying with her for a month. It was a scary trait. Nah, who was he kidding? It was a trait that he absolutely loves. Who didn't like a yandere who was completely in love with you, and she's a royal concubine and a princess to boot? Nux sure did. Yvain Skyfall, the second princess of the Skyfall Kingdom, is the daughter of Emilia Skyfall and the granddaughter of Duke Leofric Vestalis, is someone who can easily participate in the Battle of the Throne with her status. Her status is high even if you compare it with other members of the royal family. However, she prefers peace and quietness and thinks that politics and wars are unnecessary and tiring. This is the reason why she left all the glory and became a teacher in the Royal Academy. Her hobby is painting, and Amaya then continued to talk about Yvain, and listening to her, Nux smiled. That is what I liked about Amaya. Even though she was extremely possessive, she would go out of her way to find information about his next target. A completely contradictory and senseless way of doing things, but Amaya would do it if it pleases Nux. Of course, she would want accurate rewards for her efforts as well. She won't do it for free. She needs accurate compensation in the form of bathroom sex in 3 different positions. Of course, anything above 3 is welcomed as well. It can be counted as a bonus since she's doing such a good job. "What about your physique? Did your mastery level increase yet?" Nux questioned. "No," Amaya answered with a sad look on her face. "Don't worry, just continue practicing. I know you will get there. I trust you." A small smile appeared on Amaya's face. "Yes, I will practice more. I have arranged everything. From tomorrow onwards, I would have more time to train." Suddenly, Nux frowned. "Huh? What?" "Nothing," Amaya shook her head. Nux then narrowed his eyes and questioned, "Amaya, you think you can lie to me?" "I am not lying." "When are you starting?" "Tomorrow." Amaya could not lie. "I will be coming to the castle then," Nux muttered. "No, you cannot." Amaya, however, shook her head repeatedly. "Why? Have you met the headmaster of the Royal Academy yet?" "No, I did not. I tried to find him, however, I don't think he is here at the moment." "Then how will you know if conceal will work on the king or not?" "It most probably will. We cannot take any chances here, Nux." Amaya's eyes turned serious. "But," Nux was still unwilling. "No, as I said, you do not know how strong a king stage cultivator is. As long as you don't see the headmaster and confirm everything, you cannot go in front of the king." "How about I sneak into a duke's house?" And what if the king stage cultivator could see you? What then? Nux turned silent. Nux, don't do something reckless. Amaya's voice turned solemn. Can't you delay it for a few more days? I'm sure the headmaster would return soon. Nux, suddenly Amaya called. What? You know who I am, right? I am Amaya Skyfall. I am someone who has formed the largest information chamber in the world without even leaving the palace. I know how everything will go. I know how he will react. Trust me. The next day, Amaya was lying on her bed with a tired and dull look on her face. Knock, knock, knock. A few minutes later, Amaya heard someone knocking on her door and a small smile appeared on her face. It is starting, she informed. All right, I am ready, okay? Inform me if something is wrong and I will come right away. From the other side, she heard Nux's worried voice and a loving smile appeared on her face. Don't worry, nothing will happen, my love. Amaya's black eyes turned a shade darker when she said those words. It looked like she was possessed. Honestly, her face was quite scary right now. I trust you, my love. A crazy smile appeared on Amaya's face when she heard that. Yes, you should trust the love of your life. You should trust the person you love the most. You should... Knock, knock, knock. Amaya was brought out of her reverie when she heard the knocks again. Then her smile disappeared and a dull and tired look appeared on her face. Enter, she ordered in a weak voice as black mist started oozing out and covering her body. The doors were then opened and Kelton entered. However, his eyes widened in surprise and horror when he saw Amaya's state. Amaya was lying on her bed with a weak and tired look on her face, while black-colored mist surrounded her body. Lady Amaya, what happened? Kelton questioned in panic. Call the king, Amaya ordered in a weak voice. Kelton didn't know how to react when he saw her acting like that. However, in the end, he decided to do what she ordered and nodded. As you command, Lady Amaya, please wait for a second. Saying that, Kelton quickly left the room and rushed towards the king's room. A few minutes later, Kelton rushed back into Amaya's room, and behind her, a black-haired, purple-eyed man entered the room with a calm look on his face. The man wore a white-colored coat and a red cloak over the top. He had a lean body, and although he had wrinkles on his face, he still looked handsome. He was Ricardus Skyfall, the king of the Skyfall Kingdom. When Ricardus's eyes fell on Amaya's body, a frown appeared on his calm face, and he questioned, What happened? What is this black mist? Why do you look so weak? He questioned with curiosity. Yes, curiosity, not worry. In the end, Amaya was just a trophy. What? She is sick? So what? It is the medic's duty to look after her and cure her, not the king's. He was just here because he had time to come here, nothing more. No, he was a little worried, though, especially after seeing Amaya's condition. She didn't look much healthy, and that was bad. She was still an unclaimed trophy after all. If she is going to die, it is better for him to claim her before she leaves this world. Seeing that his questions weren't answered yet, the king frowned. Answer me. A sigh then escaped Amaya's mouth, and she opened her mouth. Look at my cultivation. Huh? Frowned the king. However, since Amaya had turned silent again, he decided to do what she said and observed her closely. A few minutes later, his eyes widened in surprise. This was the first genuine emotion that had appeared on his face since the moment he entered this room. How did you become a Grand Master Stage cultivator? He questioned in excitement. He is sure that this trophy was a weak trophy and a mortal a year ago. There is no way someone can raise his cultivation in just 1 year. this is simply impossible by normal means. This meant that Amaya had found a shortcut to cultivating. If he could learn about it, he might break through and become an emperor stage cultivator. Who wouldn't be excited about that? However, Amaya's next words broke all his hopes. "This is not my cultivation." "Huh? What do you mean?" The king frowned. "It is related to my curse." The king stayed silent and waited for her to continue her explanation. Amaya understood that and continued. "A month ago, my body started acting weirdly and I started feeling unnecessarily heavy. Initially, I just ignored it, thinking it was all because I was overworking and was tired. However, soon it became something uncontrollable. My body started turning heavier and heavier, and soon this mist started appearing around me. Initially, it used to disappear within 5 minutes and only appears once every 3 to 4 days. However, then it started to appear more frequently. Every day, then 2 to 3 times a day, and then I noticed that more mist appeared around me the weirder my body became. From a mortal to a Grand Master stage cultivator, I covered that journey in 1 month. This should be something to be happy about. However, that's when I realized that this was not my own power. This was the curse. My curse was getting stronger. And yesterday, finally, it got to a stage where my body is so heavy that I can't even move now." The king narrowed his eyes and then questioned, "So, this mist, is it from your curse?" "Yes." Amaya nodded, and King quickly stepped back and stood a few meters from Amaya. "I've been surrounded by this mist and have stayed in this position for the past 12 hours, Amaya muttered. And after listening to everything, the king only asked one question. "So, does that mean I cannot claim you?"
Yes, that was the only thing he worries about. He cannot claim Arvina Skyfall for reasons. Now if a shiny trophy like Amaya would join her as well, then it would be disappointing. I cannot say for certain. Amaya didn't reject or accept. The best case scenario would of course be a no, however she knew well enough to not reject the king like this. It is always better than if the king checks it on his own. "You are not certain?" The king raised his eyebrow. Amaya stayed silent, however the king knew what her silence meant. "All right, I guess I would have to check it out myself," the king muttered, and Amaya smiled inwardly. The king reacted just like she imagined him to. So does that mean the king would touch her? Of course not. She wouldn't have done something like this if that was the case. Last time it was an advanced stage cultivator. This time we will try it with master stage cultivator. Yes, the king would make a servant touch her wife. The king turned around and ordered a soldier. "Call any master stage cultivator here." "As you command, your royal highness." The soldier rushed out, and a few minutes later a man walked into the room. The king observed the man and noticed that he was a master stage cultivator. "You know why you were called here, correct?" the king questioned. "Yes, your highness," the man bowed. "All right, you can continue." The king nodded. The man then walked past the king and moved towards Amaya, and soon a big, evil smile appeared on his face. Amaya Skyfall is the most beautiful girl he has ever seen in his entire life. The queen or any other royal concubine were not even close to her when it came to beauty. Amaya Skyfall's beauty was simply otherworldly, and today he was going to taste this otherworldly concubine. Does he not know about the curse? Of course he does. He knows that there are chances that he would lose his life due to the curse. However, he also knew that even if he survives the curse, the king would kill him in one way or another. There's no way a man like that would exist. Therefore, he knew he would die either way. He had already accepted that. However,
He won't die without tasting the forbidden fruit. He would bathe in the pleasure of sleeping with the most beautiful woman he has ever seen. Actually, he snorts at the previous man, that advanced stage cultivator bastard who pulled out without even tasting it. What a loser. A pussy. He, however, was different. He was planning to go all the way and would make sure that the king listens to her wife moaning in pleasure. Thinking about that, his smile widened even more, and he extended his hands towards Amaya's perfect breasts. However, as soon as his hands came 10 centimeters close to Amaya's body, the black mist surrounding Amaya reacted. The man noticed a small, disdainful smirk on Amaya's face, and his eyes widened in surprise. However, before he could react, a large amount of black mist entered his body. He tried using mana to block it off, however more and more black mist entered his body from his arms, legs, shoulders, and everywhere. Soon the man was surrounded by black mist. "Ah! Save me! Save me!" The man screamed in horror as everything around him turned black. He quickly learned that it was better to use more mana to push the black mist out of his body. However, the amount of black mist surrounding his body was too much. He couldn't deal with that with his mana alone. Also, the black mist continued to devour his organs, and his resistance started decreasing. His hands, feet, shoulders, everything turned gray, and soon his body fell to the ground. With all his body turned gray, the man didn't have any way to resist the dark mist. The mist continued devouring the man, his organs, bones, and blood vessels. In the end, nothing of that man was left. Even his clothes were devoured. The man completely disappeared from the room. There were no traces left at all. And all of this happened in just 5 minutes. Yes, a master stage cultivator was completely helpless and died within 5 minutes. That was how scary the devouring mist was. The others who witnessed this scene turned silent. Their eyes then fell on Amaya, and seeing the lost, confused, and terrified look on her face, they knew that she was scared as well. "It has become a lot stronger than before," the king commented with a solemn face. "Indeed," Kelton nodded in worry. The advanced stage cultivator died a month after this incident. Also, unlike what happened today, his body didn't disappear. Your curse has been strengthened for some reason. The king turned towards Amaya and muttered. Hearing his words, Amaya smiled disdainfully. Of course he died differently. The man never died due to a curse. He was killed by her. Well, she did not do it herself, but she ordered his death. "Will I survive?" Suddenly Amaya questioned with a weak look on her face. Seeing her like that, Kelton's heart throbbed in pain. In the end, she was just a little girl. This curse was too much for someone like her. Why is fate so cruel to her? "I do not know. I will continue looking for the cure. You stay here and do whatever you wish," the king muttered. After this demonstration, there was no way he would touch this woman. There are chances that he will survive, however, he wasn't willing to risk it. Risking his life for a mere woman was a completely stupid idea. In the end, he could always find another woman. Amaya, who saw his expression, smiled inwardly. She was correct. This man did just what she expected he would do. "It was successful," she muttered, and in that instance she received an answer. "Good job, my beautiful Amaya."
It was successful. "Good job, my beautiful Amaya." A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he heard Amaya's words. Then a sigh escaped his mouth. It would be a lie to say that he was not worried. He was worried sick. He doesn't know much about the king, however, there were chances that someone else would touch Amaya. Let alone him, even Amaya wouldn't accept that. That is why he was so worried. From what he has learned, that girl was a complete yandere.
What do you think would happen to a man who tries to touch a yandere? He would die. And what if a yandere can't kill the man? She would hurt herself. She might even kill herself. Of course, the situation won't turn that extreme since Nux would rush there as soon as something happens. However, Nux was still worried. All right, now I will train the physique. You do whatever you are busy with. Nux then heard Amaya's voice and nodded. This was all Amaya's plan. After today, no one would doubt her cultivation. Of course, she would need to cover herself with devouring mist moon, but that was just a form of training. Amaya's mastery over devouring mist demon physique was still just at acquired level. She doesn't have a system like Nux where she just needs to press a button and boom, she powers up. She needs to work hard, walk on the path that no one has ever walked on before, and get stronger. Since the book said to use the physique's power as much as possible, Amaya would do just that. She would turn her physique into a curse. All right, take care of yourself, I will meet you soon, Nux muttered, and then he broke the telepathic connection. Sir, how much time until he wakes up? His injuries were severe. Even after giving him a healing potion, he would still need a week to wake up. A man wearing a white coat muttered. A week, Myril gritted his teeth in rage. The person who attacked him was too ruthless. He broke both his legs and assaulted him even after he passed out. All this combined made the bad situation worse, the doctor muttered. Myril's eyes turned cold when he heard the doctor's statement, and he growled in anger. Just wake up, little brother. Leave everything else to me. Whoever dared to do something like this, I will make sure that he pays the price. Saying that, Myril patted Oswald's head. Of course, his words didn't sound very convincing when he himself had burnt marks on his body and there were no hairs on his head. His own condition wasn't very good either. A week, huh? Nux thought inwardly and nodded to himself. A week was enough. He was sure that he could get close to Yvain at that time. Of course, since he was her student, things would be harder than normal and they won't form an intimate relationship within just a week. However, Nux was sure that he would be able to get close to her. Thinking about it, Nux left the medic room and started walking towards his own room. Everything would be coming together next week. He needs to prepare some more things as well. After all, if he wants to attract her attention, he needs to make sure that he makes everything entertaining enough. Nux chuckled and then walked into his room. Nux, tell me honestly, did Candace come to you to find trouble today? Yvain questioned with a frown on her face. Huh? Why do you feel that way, Teacher Yvain? Nux questioned with a frown. Right now, it was night and he was inside Yvain's room. How did he enter? Well, was it his first time? He had a few doubts related to fire burst skill, of course. You didn't have your usual confident aura around you today. In fact, you looked a little gloomy, Yvain answered, and then her gaze turned serious. Tell me if something like that happened. I can help you deal with it. Suddenly, a small teasing smile appeared on Nux's face as he questioned. Teacher Yvain, are you worried about me? However, his teasing words did not work against Nux. Oh, are you sure it's just because I'm your student? What other reason could there be? Yvain questioned with a frown. Nux observed her reaction and deduced that she was not acting. She was actually clueless and doesn't realize that he is flirting with her. Oh, she's unexpectedly innocent, huh? I'm sure you're worried because I'm your favorite student, right? Since when did you become my favorite student? Yvain raised her eyebrow. Huh? I'm not your favorite student? Of course not. Then who is it? Nux questioned with a pout. I do not have any favorite students. Everyone is equal in my eyes. I never thought you would be like this, Teacher Yvain. You're betraying me. Suddenly, Nux muttered. Huh? What do you mean? I'm your favorite teacher, so I thought you were my favorite student as well. I feel bad now. Nux pouted even more. Stop talking about these nonsensical things. Just answer my question. You should not change the topic like this. Anyway, Yvain then glanced at Nux with a look that said, I will get mad now. In the end, Nux sighed in defeat and decided to give up. She did not do anything, Teacher Yvain. I was just worried about something else today. You do not have to worry about it. Yvain nodded in understanding, and then the two of them continued talking. The next day, Nux walked into his class, flirt-talked with girls, made the boys angry, and then attended Yvain's class. In the evening, he would enter Yvain's room and talk about Fireburst, and then would talk about any random things. Most of the time, the topics would be related to her paintings. And just like that, a week passed by.
Is Meryl still not back yet? Teacher Yvain questioned with a frown as he looked around the class. She had seen his injury. It shouldn't take more than 3-4 days for him to fully recover. Even if he wanted to rest a little, it has already been more than a week. Shouldn't he come back to the class now? Heh, he must be too ashamed to come back, a student commented. Indeed, he was beaten up pretty badly after all. Heh, losing after being the first one to attack, that is quite shameful. Indeed. No matter how much I hate this Nux bastard, I'm always grateful since he got rid of a nuisance like Meryl. Indeed. The students then turned around. However, they then noticed that rather than listening their talk, Nux was talking with a few girls, completely ignoring what was going on in the class. Actually, I take my words back. This bastard is much more hateful than Meryl, a boy muttered as he glanced at Nux with hatred. Indeed, indeed. The rest of the students nodded. Noticing that another commotion has started because of her question, Yvain decided to change the topic. Whether Meryl attends the class or not depends on him. It shouldn't concern her. All right, everyone, stop talking. We will start our class now, she muttered and gained the attention of the rest of the students. However, before she could start the class, bam! The doors of her classroom were kicked open by a blue-haired girl. Seeing the girl, Yvain frowned and questioned in a stern tone, Candace Warder, what are you doing here? Is that a way one should enter a classroom? Also, can't you see that I am teaching right now? Candace, however, completely ignored Yvain's words and pointed at Nux. Is he the one who attacked you? She questioned. Yes, he is the one. He attacked me and my friends for no reason and even took my storage ring, a 15-year-old student complained as his face turned pale in fear when he saw Nux's face. Behind him, 2 more students of the same age were standing. You bastard! You dare attack my little brother? Another angry voice was heard. The class then saw Meryl walking into the class with an angry look on his face. Nux Leander, who gave you the galls to attack the student of this academy? Candace questioned, as she narrowed her eyes in a threatening way. Oh ho, would you look at them go? A small smile appeared on Nux's face when he saw what was happening. Just like the doctor said, Oswald woke up today. Of course, many would have questioned who attacked him so brutally, and he would have described his face. There's no way Meryl wouldn't recognize him right away, and he must have already told everything to Candace Warder. Then why was she acting so surprised? Why come here to confirm when they already knew who was behind it? Well, the reason was simple. They wanted to target him in front of all the students. Of course, Nux had already predicted it. He was actually happy that everything was going exactly like it should be going. Candace, what is the meaning of it? How can you blame my student again? Yvain stepped in, trying to protect Nux. However, this time, Candace was prepared. Huh? I'm trying to blame your student? Teacher Yvain, I know you favor Nux very much. So much that even after he attacked Meryl, you took his side. But are you seriously going to allow Nux to continue to bully other students in the academy? I also heard that you allowed him to live in the room next to you in the teacher's abode. Teacher Yvain, Nux is merely a commoner, someone who should have no relationship with you. Then why are you going to such a length to protect him?
I heard that you were an honest and upright teacher. Then why— Wait. Suddenly, Candace acted like she realized something and questioned. Teacher Yvain, you do not have any sort of unspeakable relationship with Nux Leander, a commoner, correct? What the hell are you talking about? Yvain retorted in anger when she heard what Candace was talking about. How dare you slander a teacher? She couldn't believe Candace said something like this. However, Candace only smiled at her outburst. That is the only logical conclusion I can come up with. After all, a 15-year-old student says that he was attacked by Nux. All right, let's leave this topic. You want proof, right? I will give you one. I brought a witness. Heh, I do not need any proof, Meryl muttered. Huh? Candace frowned. Yvain then suppressed her anger and turned towards Nux. Nux, you answer me. Did you attack this student? Huh? Why are you asking him? He, of course, would never accept it. Was my conjecture all true? Do you two really have some sort of unspeakable relationship with each other? Candace questioned loudly. Yvain, however, just clenched her fist and tried to ignore Candace's words. She needed an answer from Nux. Yes, Teacher Yvain, I did attack this student. Not only that, I even attacked his friends. What? Yvain's eyes widened in surprise. See, I told you he would never admit— Huh? Even Candace was surprised. However, soon an evil smile appeared on her face, and she shouted, See, I told you he was the one behind it. What are you going to say now, Yvain? Nux, why did you— Yvain just couldn't believe her ears. However, instead of answering her, Nux stood up and slowly walked towards Candace. Then he walked past her and observed the students that had come here to see what the commotion was about. You really brought a lot of students with you, huh, Candace? Nux commented. Then he noticed a familiar figure standing there and waved his hand. Manya, how have you been? Huh? I'm fine. What about you? Being pointed out like that, Manya stuttered a little. However, she still managed to answer. I'm fine as well. So, why are you here? Nux asked. I just saw Lady Manya and noticed that many students were following her, so I tagged along. Ah, Nux nodded in understanding. Then he turned towards Candace and smiled. But are you sure you want to play it like that? Huh? What do you mean? Candace frowned. Nux's smile widened and he shouted, You're here, right? Come out. Yes, big brother. Then an 8-year-old boy walked out of the crowd and Nux smiled. Do you recognize him, Lady Candace? Do you recognize him, Lady Candace? Nux questioned as he turned towards Candace. However, before she could even answer, Nux's eyes fell on Oswald and his two friends, and he questioned, Surely you three recognize him, right? Oswald and his friends quickly averted his gaze, not answering his questions. Candace frowned. She felt like she had seen this boy somewhere, however, she could not remember where. It seems that you have forgotten about this boy. Let me help you remember, Lady Candace. 9 days ago, Oswald and his friends joined their hands together and surrounded this boy. Then they attacked him ruthlessly and took his healing potion. Lady Candace saw that as well, right? Candace started recalling. Yeah. She wanted to answer, however someone else nodded faster than her. Yes, I remember it. It happened a few days ago. Manya nodded her head. Ah, it seems that you remember. That's a good thing. What about you, Lady Candace? You remember it as well, do you not? Candace narrowed her eyes and nodded. I do. However, I do not understand why are you bringing that topic today. Nux just smiled. I happened to be there that day as well, and it was only that day that I learned a life-changing lesson that came from no one else but Lady Candace. Candace frowned. For some reason, she did not like that smile on Nux's face. In this world, the weak have no right to say or complain about anything, whereas the strong can do whatever they wanted and no one would say anything to them. This is what you taught me that day, Lady Candace. You said that weak should not complain about anything. Rather, they should go stronger and rely on themselves. Yes, I remember that lesson as well. I have memorized it by heart. Manya nodded as well. She respected Candace a lot. Her every word was like a law to her. Indeed, I was there as well. Another person spoke up, and seeing that, more and more students spoke up. They didn't want to miss the opportunity to impress Lady Candace after all. Yes, I was there. It was indeed what Lady Candace taught us. True, true. Those were wise words indeed. The students continued to nod, and hearing their words, a big smile appeared on Nux's face. Lady Candace, I was only following your words when I did what I did to these 3 boys. Huh? What do you mean? Candace frowned. These 3 weak students dared to block someone who is stronger than them, path. Of course, not only that, they even dared to shout at me in return. The audacity! I had to punish them. They needed to be taught. They needed to know that they are weak. They shouldn't stand against strong. Therefore, I beat them up. I did a good job, did I not, Lady Candace? Nux questioned with a smile, and then the crowd turned silent. This man's words, why do they sound so logical? He was stronger, so doesn't that make him right? Why was Lady Candace here then? Noticing the students' reaction, Candace frowned, and then her anger exploded. Huh? You fought against beginner-stage cultivators when you yourself are an advanced-stage cultivator. In what world is that fair? Tisk tisk, what an amateur. Nux couldn't help but snort inwardly when he heard Candace's response. Lady Candace, this boy is just at apprentice stage. 3 beginner-stage cultivators attacked him together. In what world is that fair? Silence. Candace turned silent. Silence. Not only her, but the students also turned silent. Royce is just an 8-year-old boy, and he was attacked by 3 15-year-old boys who were stronger than him. In what world is that fair? Rather, isn't me, an 18-year boy, attacking 3 15-year-old boys fairer? Don't you think so, Lady Candace? Nux smiled. No, you were wrong. Candace didn't step back. Oh, how so? Nux questioned. These 3 are from Earl's house. As for this boy, he is from a Viscount house, which means this boy is their subordinate, and every master has the right to hit his subordinates. Also, no subordinate has any right to question his superior's decision. Nux's smile widened, and then he questioned. Then, Lady Candace, how did you question Teacher Yvain's decision? Huh? Candace frowned. Although Teacher Yvain's polite, caring, and respectful attitude doesn't show it, in the end, she is the princess of the Skyfall Kingdom, the daughter of the king. Then how did you, a daughter of a mere marquis, dare to question her decision? Not only that, you even dared to slander her. Who gave you the galls to do that? Huh? Do you not know who Lady Candace is? She is the... Merle wanted to retort. However, Nux suddenly disappeared from where he was standing and appeared near Merle. Bam! Then he grabbed his head and smashed it on the ground. The weak should remain silent. They have no right to speak. Nux muttered in a cold voice as he stood up and stepped on Merle's head. Then his eyes turned towards Candace and he questioned, I will ask you again, who gave you the galls to go against the princess of the kingdom, you bitch? Candace's body trembled when she heard Nux's words. However, she wasn't trembling because she was angry. She was trembling because Nux's eyes, they looked scary. A commoner talking with a daughter of a marquis in this tone. Let me ask you, who gave you the galls to do that, filthy commoner?" Suddenly, a student who was standing beside Candace stepped up and spoke with a disdainful look on his face. Nux glanced at his face and recognized him. He was Candace's lackey and a master stage cultivator. As he had portrayed himself right now, Nux cannot win against him, neither in status nor in power. However, that didn't mean that he was helpless. He had prepared for this day a long time now. "Heh! A son of a mere earl is talking about status. That's funny." A small smile appeared on Nux's face when he heard an unfamiliar voice. "They're here, huh? Took them a fucking long time."
Huh? A son of a mere earl is talking about status? That's funny. A voice was heard. Who the fuck? The boy who had stepped up in front of Nux turned around, wanting to curse. However, soon his expression changed and his face looked like he had just eaten shit. Kane. Smith, he muttered. A smile appeared on the boy named Smith's face as he muttered, "It is good that you know who we are, son of an earl. So I was saying, you have some guts to talk about status in front of a member of Marquee House," Smith muttered. "Huh? What?" The boy frowned. "The member of Marquee House? Isn't he just a commoner?" "So what if he's a commoner? Nux is my, Smith Hardwick's, sword brother. Doesn't that make him a marquis? At the very least, he is someone whose status is a lot stronger than someone like you," Smith revealed with a smile on his face, and the boy's eyes widened in surprise. "Whoa, what?" Nux smiled and walked toward the boy. "Yes, now, little dog, stop barking and embarrassing your owner. Stand back." The boy gritted his teeth in anger. However, he knew he couldn't do anything here. Although he was stronger than this commoner, Smith and Kane were different. Smith Hardwick and Kane Bannermain, both of them were master stage cultivators, just like him. Not only that, but both of them were sons of marquises. He couldn't do anything against them. Since the two of them were now protecting this bastard, he could only step back and rely on someone else. "Huh? Did you just call my subordinate a dog?" Candace narrowed her eyes. She had already come out of her reverie and was cursing herself for being afraid of a mere advanced stage cultivator. Nux tilted his head in confusion. "Didn't you hear? Let alone your subordinate, I'm calling you a bitch as well, and I've been doing that for a while now, bitch." Everyone turned silent again when they heard Nux's words, and Candace's body trembled again. This time, however, it was from anger. "Are you too sure you want to protect him?" She turned toward Smith and Kane and questioned. "Is that even a question? He's my sworn brother after all." Smith answered with a smile on his face. Actually, he would never do something so tiresome as protecting someone who he doesn't even know. However, this time was different. He has received a letter from his father, and the way the letter was written, Smith could feel his father's anxiousness. Kane was the same. They could feel how desperately their father wanted to protect this man. Nux Leander was most definitely not a normal commoner. He must be someone far more terrifying than that. "Is it even if it means that you will fall out against the Waterhouse?" Candace questioned. "Do you think we're scared of you?" Smith questioned back, and Kane stepped forward as well. Their meaning was clear. Just like every other time, Bannermain and Hardwick houses were in this together. The Waters house may be strong, however, they are nothing in front of these two marquee houses combined. Candace gritted her teeth in frustration. The royal family and the dukes never participate in any lower-ranking nobles. Therefore, in this academy, marquises were the ones with the most influence. She may be a prodigy and her house might be strong. However, that does not mean children of other marquee houses would submit to her. She wasn't that influential yet. The Water family had allies as well. However, allies were only here allies for profit, and their relationship wasn't as strong as the relationship between Bannermain and Hardwick houses. If it all comes down to political struggle, she knows that her allies would leave her side. After all, no one wants to participate in a fight. Everyone just wants to reap profits. Bannermain and Hardwick houses, however, were different. They would fight out together, as if they had an unbreakable bond between them. That is what makes them so strong.
Therefore, she knew she can't do anything about all this. In the end, she turned towards Nux and challenged him. "All right, let's end this pointless conversation as cultivators do. Fight me." Nux chuckled in response. "Man, you really are a two-faced bitch, huh?" "Huh? First, you call me out for attacking 3 beginner stage cultivators while being an advanced stage cultivator, but now you challenge me, an advanced stage cultivator, while being a master stage cultivator? Bitch, are you right with your head and did you damage your brain somehow? Are you scared?" Candace completely ignored his words and smirked provocatively. But would Nux give in to provocations like these? Of course not. He still didn't get what he wanted after all. "You dared to slander Teacher Evane. She would like to fight it out with you. Do you accept?" "She's a teacher. She isn't allowed to fight against a student." "A two-faced bitch indeed." Nux nodded his head, and this time a few more students couldn't help but look at her with weird expressions on their faces. Was this really the girl they called their goddess, the future pillar of the kingdom? Candace's face distorted in anger when she noticed that, and seeing that expression, Nux smiled. Now was the time. "You want to fight me, correct?" he questioned. "I do. I have a way to make it a fair battle." "What?" "Teacher Arvina Skyfall has taken you as your personal student, correct?" "Yes, that is correct." "I heard that Teacher Arvina Skyfall is known for her sword skills. She must have taught you some, did she not?" "What are you trying to get at?" Candace narrowed her eyes. "Why don't we have a sword duel? A duel where we will not use our cultivation and fight with swords. Of course, since mana has already strengthened our body, we can't do anything about that. However, we won't use any skills in this fight. We will purely fight with our swords. And since Teacher Arvina is so good with swords, she will act as a judge. How about it?" Nux questioned, and a big smile appeared on Candace's beautiful face. "I agree."
I agree, Candace answered with a smile on her face. "A fight where we do not use our skills, correct? I am perfectly fine with that. When it comes to fighting against star beasts, humans mostly rely on their skills. A star beast's body is a lot stronger than a human who has the same level of cultivation. A star beast is stronger, faster, and sturdier than a human. However, there is one difference, and this is the mana both of them possess. Humans possess more mana than star beasts. Therefore, humans use skills to fight and defeat star beasts who have the same level of cultivation as them. Of course, only a few humans who have a high-level mastery over their skills, like Thyra, can defeat a star beast this way. It is not wrong to say that skills are what divides a normal human cultivator and a powerful human cultivator. From this, one could understand how important skills are. However, this also means another thing. Without using any skills related to mana, the difference in strength between an advanced stage and master stage cultivator decreases significantly. Master stage cultivators are only a little stronger than advanced stage cultivators when it comes to body strength. Therefore, this battle indeed looked fair from an outsider's perspective. However, it was not. A big smile then appeared on Candace's face as she muttered, "Of course, since we are going to have a battle, it is only right for us to bet something, am I right?" A similar smile appeared on Nux's face as he increased the pressure on Myral's face and answered, "I had the same thought." "All right, then how about this? The loser would have to apologize to the winner after the battle ends," Candace proposed. "Huh? Just this?" Nux frowned. He was actually a little disappointed. Apologize? What kind of condition was that? Tisk, tisk. And as if hearing his thoughts, Candace's smile widened and she conditioned, "Of course, it won't just be a normal, 'sorry, I was wrong' type of apology. Rather, the loser would have to get on his knees and rub his nose on the ground and apologize. In front of everyone present in the battle hall, of course." Nux raised his eyebrow when he saw that crazed smile on Candace's face. "Wow, this girl was ruthless, huh? This is too much."
Yvain, who was listening to everything, stepped forward. "Teacher Yvain, I believe you do not have any right to decide on the content of our bet." Candace turned towards Yvain and narrowed her eyes disdainfully. She did not like this bitch one bit. "Teacher Yvain," suddenly Nux called. He then turned towards Yvain and smiled politely. "I am grateful that you are worried about me. However, this bitch dared to slander you. That is something I, as your student, cannot accept and would like to see her apologize. Please do not interfere in this battle. I hope you put your trust in me." Candace's face twitched when she heard his words. However, she controlled herself and smiled. "Teacher Yvain, even your student wants to continue with the bet. Please do not interfere." Yvain then glanced at Nux, and seeing that the latter was nodding, she turned silent and stepped back. Candace then turned towards Nux and smiled. "Do not forget about the bet, commoner. We fight 2 days later." "I would like to see the Queen of the Academy rubbing her nose on the ground. Heh, won't it be similar to this dog of yours?" Nux smiled back as he glanced at Myril, who was lying on the floor with Nux's shoes on his face. "Ugh!" The man tried to move and save himself from further embarrassment. However, Nux just increased the pressure, and he was forced to turn silent. Nux then glanced at Oswald and smiled. Oswald's entire body trembled in horror, and he stepped behind Candace. Nux then glanced at Candace and smiled provocatively. Candace, however, didn't react to his provocations and turned around. "Heh, we will see who gets the last laugh, commoner," she thought in her head. She has not forgotten about her vow. She would make Nux's life hell, however she cannot do it if he's part of a marquis family. This is why she came up with such a humiliating punishment. Once Nux do something like that in front of the entire academy, the Smith Hardwick would step back and break their sworn brotherhood. No marquis house would take that humiliation after all. And once Smith Hardwick backs away, everything else would be simpler. Then she can play around with this commoner's life as much as she wanted. As for that bitch who was trying to protect him, there is only so much a mere teacher can do. There is no way that bitch Yvain can protect him if she, the Queen of the Academy, was the one who was targeting him. Thinking about everything, a small smile appeared on Candace's face and she walked away. Her followers followed behind her and she ordered, "Spread this everywhere in the Academy. I want every student to know about this." "As you command, Lady Candace." Her dog nodded respectfully. As for the other dog who was lying under Nux's floor, she did not care about him. An embarrassment like him isn't related to her. Yes, she has abandoned Myril Borkey. Just like that. "Hee, looks like your owner left you here to rot, little dog," Nux chuckled as he glanced at Myril. Seeing her walking figure, Myril gritted his teeth. Let alone saving him, she didn't even look at him. And that wasn't worse. His brother, that bastard, was walking away with her without caring about him at all. Candace was one thing, but even his own brother had abandoned him. Tisk, tisk, and you were so proud about being her subordinate. Earl Borkey would be so disappointed, Nux chuckled. "Nux, that is enough. Let him be," Yvain muttered. "As you say, Teacher Yvain," Nux smiled. He had already achieved what he wanted to do after all.
"Nux, how are you going to fight against Candace?" Anna questioned in worry. This time she did not use the prefix lady to call Candace. Her respect for Candace was affected a little when she came to her class and talked back to her teacher. However, that day, Candace managed to recreate her image by apologizing sincerely. Accepting one's own mistake was a part of strength as well. However, today she saw Candace's true face. A power-hungry, arrogant bitch who thinks she is always right. She was the type of girl who would go against her own principles if that proves her point. A really hateful character. And she wasn't alone.
Many students, mostly the students of Decade 2, Prodigy class, thought the same. Therefore, even though some of them didn't like Nux, they supported him in this battle. Seeing their faces, Nux just smiled. "Don't worry, I will win." "But, shh, just trust me." Anna wanted to counter, however, Nux just told her to be silent. The girl nodded and then stepped back. Nux then turned towards Kane and Smith. The two of them nodded to him. He nodded back, and then the two of them turned around. "Stand up for a student named Nux Leander on Monday morning. Do not annoy him. Do not talk to him unless he starts it. Do not annoy him. Don't you dare annoy him." This was the letter the two of them had received from their fathers. They could go against anyone, but not their fathers. They did not have any death wishes after all. Therefore, they just nodded and turned around. Also, they wondered who Nux actually was, but since they can't do anything now, it was better to just shrug their shoulders and walk away. Playing with a few women was a lot better than spending time here anyway. Nux then looked at Yvain. Their eyes met. Nux knew that Yvain wanted to talk about something, however, she held back. "All right, I don't think anyone would have the mood to study after what happened, so I would dismiss the class for today," Yvain announced. Everyone then walked away. "Big Brother Nux." Nux was about to walk away when Royce called. What is it?" Nux questioned. "Do you think you can win?" Royce questioned. Nux smiled as he crouched towards him and questioned, "What do you think?" "I think you will," Royce answered. Nux chuckled as he ruffled his hair. "Then what are you worried about? Just go back and play with your friends. No one bullies you now, correct?" "Yes." A smile appeared on Royce's head. "Good, good. Now go back," Nux chuckled. Royce left, and Nux walked towards his room as well. He wanted to talk to his beloved women a little. Talking with that bitch ruined his mood, after all. He needs to charge up. "Yo-hoo! How are my lovely women doing?" Tisk, tisk, lying on the bed and covering myself with black mist. And of course, Amaya was the quickest one to answer. The other women joined as well, and everyone started talking with each other. Harem seal was an amazing ability. Knock, knock, knock. At night, Nux heard someone knocking on his doors. He used his sense out of reflex, and a small smile appeared on his face. He walked towards his door and opened it. "Teacher Yvain, why are you here? Can I help you with something?" he questioned with a surprised look on his face. "I want to talk to you," Yvain muttered. "Please enter." Nux did not do anything and told her to enter his room. Yvain then entered her room, however, as soon as she did, her eyes fell on a few paintings lying on the floor. She looked around and saw a canvas. In front of the canvas, there was her painting that was hanging on a wall, while the painting on the canvas looked like an incomplete drawing of her painting. "Ah, I apologize," Nux muttered. He was about to step forward to clean everything up, however, before he could, Yvain questioned, "You paint?" Nux, however, shook his head. "I do not. I just started it since Teacher Yvain liked it, though, as you can see, I'm not very good at it." "Huh? Why would you paint just because I like it?" Yvain questioned with a confused look on her face. "I don't know. Because I like you?" Nux answered with a confused look on his face. "What?" Yvain stuttered due to shock. This was too abrupt. And why would a student like him? Why are you so shocked, Teacher Yvain? Didn't I tell you already? You are my favorite teacher." Nux smiled. "Ah, so you are talking about that," Yvain realized. "Huh? What did you think I was talking about?" Nux frowned in confusion. He really couldn't understand what Teacher Yvain was thinking right now. Teacher Yvain, on the other hand, lowered her head in embarrassment. "What the hell am I thinking about?" Yvain thought inwardly. A small smile appeared on Nux's face when he noticed her red face. However, now wasn't the time yet, therefore he changed the topic. "So, what are you here for, Teacher Yvain?" Yvain then finally came out of her reverie and faced Nux with a serious look on her face. "Did you really hit those 3 students?"
"Did you really hit those 3 students?" Yvain questioned, and Nux's face turned serious as well. "I did," he nodded. "Nux, look here. If you were being threatened by someone, you can tell me. I am the princess of this kingdom, and I can tell you that my influence is far stronger than you know. So if you have any troubles, all you have to do is tell me, and I assure you I will handle everything." Yvain muttered with a serious look on her face. She really didn't want to believe that her student attacked those 3 students. She has spent some time with Nux, she knows his character a little, and she doesn't think he was someone who hit someone. Therefore, she doubted that he was being threatened. "Teacher Yvain," Nux called. "I did it," he nodded again. "I am someone who dared to challenge the so-called Queen of the Academy inside the Academy. I am not scared of anyone. I am not being threatened by anyone," Nux answered with a serious look on his face. "Nux, they were 15-year-old children. Children! Why did you hit them so hard? I talked with the medic. Do you know what he said? He said that the person who attacked those 3 was simply an inhumane bastard. Their legs were broken, there were injuries all over their body, and the worst part was they were left alone for God knows how long. Why did you do it?" Yvain questioned. 1 year, Nux muttered. "Teacher Yvain, those children you are talking about bullied an 8-year-old child for 1 whole year. And trust me, it was not any bullying normal 15-year children do. It was something far worse. They humiliated him in front of many students. They beat him up for no apparent reason. They took everything he bought with his hard-earned money and the money his mother sent to him. And they did this for a whole long year. Not only that, they even dared to talk about his family. They talked about how they were earls and how his mother was only a viscount, hinting and indirectly warning him not to complain to the authorities. Continue this for a few more years, and the impact on that child's mind would be so big that his whole life would be destroyed. This is not something you can just ignore, Teacher Yvain. It won't be wrong to say that those 15-year-old children tortured him, mentally and physically," Nux answered as his eyes shined with rage. He wasn't nearly done with those Berkeys. However, what happens next would be decided by Felberta, not him. Actually, he hasn't even told anything to Felberta yet. He wanted her to see Royce's happy face before telling her what has happened. Yvain, who heard Nux's words, was taken aback. She thought about it a little, and then she gritted her teeth. But couldn't you approach things in a better way? That boy didn't complain to the authorities, but couldn't you do it in his stead? Why would you take things into your own hands? Why not let the authorities do it? Everything would have been solved more peacefully that way," she questioned, and a wry smile appeared on Nux's face. "Teacher Yvain, you can talk about things and solve everything peacefully because you are the princess of this kingdom," Nux muttered. And then he continued, "With your status, solving things is much easier for you than it is for someone like us. I apologize if it sounds a little harsh, but the way you think is naive and a little foolish. Let's say I had used your way to solve things and complained to the authorities. What do you think would happen?" Nux questioned. "Authorities would have taken strict action against those 3 students," Yvain answered. She wasn't bothered when Nux called her foolish. She wanted to know what he was thinking. She was rather open about it. "And what is this strict action you were talking about?" Nux questioned. "They would be expelled from the academy." Hearing the answer, Nux smiled. "Oh, and then what?" "Huh?" Yvain frowned. "So you're telling me that the price of destroying the future of a student is just expulsion?" Yvain frowned. "What if I bully 20-30 students?
What if I make their life worse than hell, destroy their confidence, impact their brains so much that they would never dare to stand against someone in their entire life? What action will the academy take against me? Expulsion? Then what about the students who were bullied? What about their destroyed future? Who will compensate that? Yvain turned silent. She had no answer. This is the reason why I had to take things into my own hands, Teacher Yvain. I had to show him that while being a commoner, I can stand against earls. Not only that, I can even stand against someone more powerful than me. I have to give him hope for his future. I needed to bring back his lost confidence. And if I have to destroy the future of a few students to do that, then call me selfish if you want, but Teacher Yvain, I will do it. Nux answered as his eyes shined with determination. Yvain, who heard Nux's words, was taken aback. She thought about it a little, and then she gritted her teeth. But are you sure you can win against that Candace 2 days later? A smile appeared on Nux's face, and he answered, but of course.
Hey, where are you going? A boy named Alex questioned another boy. Huh? We're sleeping for the last 2 days? Mark answered. Tsk, tsk. So you are going to the battle hall as well, huh? Alex understood. Mark then shook his head and a posture appeared in his hand. Of course I am. Lady Candace is going to fight someone who dared to break the rules of the academy. So you saw that posture as well. It was spread everywhere in the academy. How can I not see it? Mark answered. Indeed, Alex nodded his head. But I am still surprised. I can't believe that boy dared to break the rules and then challenged Lady Candace to a sword battle. People like him should be kicked out of the school. I agree. Well, whatever. I heard that he is going to apologize after Lady Candace wins this battle, so it doesn't really matter. He will be punished no matter what. Do you think an apology would cut it? You think we people will end it there? Let the match end. After Lady Candace is done with him, we will give him our own peace of mind. Alex smiled. True, Mark nodded with a similar smile on his face. But why are you going there an hour earlier? Alex questioned with a frown. Huh? I can ask you the same question. ... The two of them glanced at each other, and in the end, Mark sighed. Whatever, let's not talk about it right now. Shall we go together then? If we go early, we will be able to get the best seats with the best view. All right. The two of them then rushed towards the battle hall. However, as soon as the battle hall appeared in front of their eyes, their body froze in shock. There was a huge line in front of the battle hall. The two of them rushed forward and questioned, Oi, why is there such a big line in front of the battle hall? Mark questioned a boy. A boy turned around and sighed. You know about the sword duel, right? Of course we do. Apparently, a few people have been here in this battle hall from yesterday night, and some joined early in the morning. The battle hall is already full. What? The boy sighed. Battle hall had the capacity to fit 5,000 students, which was half of the total number of students in the academy, and no matter how grand the occasion was, the battle hall was never filled up to the brim. Some students even called it the second auditorium. However, today, yes, there are only a few seats left. Just get in the line. If we're lucky, we will get those seats. If not, then forget about it. Yes, this time the number of seats fell short. That was how strong Candace, the queen of the Royal Academy's image and her marketing skills, is. And we thought coming here an hour earlier was overkill. Mark couldn't believe it. An hour later, when everyone settled down inside the battle hall while many students were forced to stay out, Nux and Candace entered the stage. Lady Candace! Lady Candace! Many cheers were heard. It was expected. She was the queen of the academy after all. Nux, you can do it! You can do it! We are with you! However, not everyone in the room was supporting the queen. Some supported Nux.
Most of them were the students of his own class, while there were also a few other students who heard what had happened 2 days ago and disagreed with Candace. Of course, the students who were supporting Nux were fairly low in number compared to Candace's fanatics. "There aren't many people who want to see you win," Candace smirked. Nux, however, did not give in to her provocations and answered, "It's not like they are going to come here and fight." Candace chuckled. "I'll clarify the rules again. This would be a best-of-3 battle where the challengers will use wooden swords to fight. Are you two ready?" Then the two of them heard an emotionless voice. Nux glanced at the woman standing in front of him and smiled. "Name, Arvina Skyfall. Age, 102. Mana cultivation, expert. Body cultivation, mortal. Race, human. Occupation, vice headmaster of the Royal Academy. Talent, high. LVL, 54. HP, 650 over 650. MP, 1,100 over 1,100. STR, 63. AGL, 69. VIT, 65. STM, 62. INT, 110. DEF, 55. "Oh, I finally get to see you, Arvina Skyfall," Nux chuckled. Brown-red, fiery eyes, sword-like eyebrows, light blonde hair, luscious red lips, and a lean physique, the woman was really enchanting. However, together with being beautiful, she also released a ferocious, dangerous aura. Aura of a warrior, a well-trained warrior. If Thyra gave off a dangerous, silent-type aura, her aura was more of a dominant type of aura. "I am ready," Nux answered her question. "I am ready as well, teacher," Candace smiled. "All right," Arvina stepped back. Seeing this, Candace's smile widened in joy and a wooden sword appeared in her hand. "What did you say again? It's not like they are going to fight in your stead, right? You wish they would. At the very least, you wouldn't have to go through the humiliation you will be going through today." Candace laughed disdainfully. Nux narrowed his eyes. "What did you say?" Seeing that look, Candace smiled even more and started walking towards him. "I said I will make you crawl on your knees and rub your nose on the ground." Then Candace brought her face close to Nux. A crazed look appeared on her face. "I will take everything from you, your self-respect, then your status, your confidence. I will make sure to bury you so deep into the ground that you will never rise again. I will destroy you, Nux Lander." Nux stepped back a little and gritted his teeth in anger. Seeing that, Candace's smile widened even more and continued. "Nux Lander, I will make you—" However, before she could complete her sentence, Nux placed his wooden sword on her neck. "Huh?" Candace blinked in surprise. However, before she could react, Arvina's voice was heard. "Round 1 ends. Nux Lander wins. Score 1-0. Round 1 ends. Nux Leander wins. Score 1-0. Arvina announced in an expressionless tone. "Huh?" Candace couldn't register what had happened, and seeing that, Nux smiled. "Are you sure you are the queen of the academy? Because honestly, all I see is a dumb bitch. I mean, who the fuck talks when they are fighting? And you did it while coming close to me. It was as if you wanted me to win." Nux chuckled. "What?" Candace finally registered what happened, and her face distorted in anger. "How dare you attack me like that? Weren't you barking about being fair and just 2 days ago? What happened? Too scared to fight me fairly?" "It was as fair as it could get, you dumb bitch. The fight had started. And from where I come from, we don't really talk with our opponents when we fight each other." You bastard!" Candace shouted in rage. "Challenger Candace, the results are announced. Come back to where your position." Arvina muttered, and this time, although her tone was still bland and expressionless, Nux and Candace could feel a little disappointment hidden inside it. Nux smiled, and for Candace, her face distorted in rage. However, she controlled herself and walked back to her position. Despicable! How can you do something like that? The audience finally realized what happened, and someone shouted in rage. You call yourself a warrior? I only see a cheater. Yeah, cheater. The audience started booing and taunting Nux. Nux then turned towards the audience and shouted back. Oh yeah? Do you guys think you are a better judge than Teacher Arvina? Why not come down here and replace her then? The audience turned silent. Arvina glanced at Nux and narrowed her eyes. This guy just used her to deal with the audience, placing her directly against the audience while getting out of the mess on his own. That is not something one can come up with on a whim. Is he really a commoner? Arvina thought inwardly. Seeing his method had worked, Nux chuckled. Lady Candace, don't worry. He just won the first round on a whim. It is the best of 3. You just have to win the next 2 rounds. Someone in the audience muttered. Yes, Lady Candace, his tricks won't work again. Yes, Lady Candace, you can do it. The crowd then started cheering for Candace, and seeing this, Nux shook his head. Tss, tss, dumb people supporting a dumb bitch. An interesting sight indeed. Again, the crowd turned silent, and they glared at Nux with rage and hatred. Candace was the same as well. She can't believe that she lost 1 round. This should have been a 2-0 match. Now it would be 2-1, and it was all because of this despicable bastard. Teacher, I am ready for the next round. Arvina turned towards Nux and questioned, Are you ready for the next round, or do you need some rest? Nux shrugged. It's not like I had to do much. Thanks to how dumb my opponent is, I'm as good as new right now. A vein popped up on Candace's forehead. Hateful bastard. Arvina nodded, and then she stepped back. This time, Candace did not repeat her mistake and dashed towards Nux, trying to attack his head. Tuck! Nux blocked her attacks, and their wooden swords collided. Candace shifted her weight and attacked his waist. Nux moved his belly and attacked Candace's shoulder, which she blocked with her sword. Candace then tried to kick Nux on his neck, but Nux crouched and attacked her legs. Despicable indeed. Candace jumped and muttered. Nux completely ignored her and attacked her legs again. This little advantage he won't leave so easily. Candace, however, was better than he thought. She stepped on his sword and then she shot towards him, trying to end this fight. This is the end, you bastard! However, then, a small smile appeared on Nux's face. This fight was unfair to begin with. Unfair for Candace, of course. She was a master stage cultivator who had the advantage in speed, strength, and defense if she fought against a normal advanced stage cultivator. However, Nux wasn't normal. He was a body cultivator as well. Therefore, he had the complete advantage in this battle. Seeing her coming towards him, Nux smiled, and then he stepped back. Candace frowned. However, before she could even realize what had happened, Nux used his wooden sword to smack her face. Ugh! Candace groaned in pain. Nux, however, wasn't done yet. He hit on her hand. Ow! Tuck! The sword Candace was carrying fell to the ground, and then Nux smiled. Ugh! 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 Head, shoulder, arms, legs, he attacked everywhere. However, most of his hits were focused on her face, and his hits were not merciful at all. Huh? What did you say? You will take everything away from me? Nux chuckled as he smacked his sword on Candace's right cheek. Ugh! My self-respect. Ugh! Candace's tooth broke and fell on the floor. My status. Ag! You are going to take it from me? Nux chuckled as he used an uppercut and punched her chin. Ugh! Candace lost her balance and fell to the floor. You think you can do that? Nux walked towards her and kicked her face. Ag! Then he stepped on her head and grinned. Do you have the strength to do that, oh so mighty queen of the academy? He didn't care if Candace was a girl. Nux was a believer of equality. If women have the right to attack men, then men have the right to do the same. Therefore, he stepped on Candace's face and even used some pressure to pin her head on the floor. "Ag, you bastard!" Candace, who couldn't take this humiliation anymore, roared in rage. This bastard could have ended the fight. However, he dared to humiliate me? He dared to step on my head? There's no fucking way I would let him go. Water missile! She used her mana and attacked, but before her skill even activated, a strong gust of wind nullified her attack, and a cold, expressionless voice was heard. Challenger Candace, water used mana, disqualified. Round 2 ends. Score 2-0. This concludes today's battle. Winner, Nux Leander.
Challenger Candace used mana. Disqualified. Round 2 ends. Score 2-0. This concludes today's battle. Winner, Nux Leander. Arvina announced in an expressionless tone. However, again, Nux could notice the slight disappointment in her tone. Well, he can't blame her either. Candace was her personal student after all. He finally stepped away and just smiled. On the other hand, when her attack was nullified, Candace finally realized what has happened. I lost, she muttered. Her disbelief was clear in her tone. Candace Water, you did not lose. Nux, however, shook his head. Huh? Candace turned towards Nux and frowned. Actually, his words filled her with some hope. It was a best of 5. No, it was a dream. Yes, this was just a bad dream. Everything would disappear after she wakes up. You did not lose, Candace, Nux smiled. Candace glanced at Nux, waiting for him to continue. You lost overwhelmingly. Nux smiled, and then a mirror appeared in his hands. Candace then saw her face, and her eyes widened in surprise. Her face was swollen. There were injuries all over the place, and there were no signs of her previous beautiful face. Yes, you lost overwhelmingly. You weren't able to land a single hit on your opponent. If I'm being honest, it was a quite pathetic display. Although I knew you would be nothing much since you were a dumb bitch, I still expected a little better. Meh, the queen of the academy, my ass. Nux shook his head in disappointment, and Candace couldn't believe her ears. Even the audience was silent. They saw the battle. It was a completely one-sided battle. Candace stood no chance at all. All her attacks were either blocked or dodged. On the other hand, once Candace's sword fell to the ground, everything ended. After that, she only acted as a punching bag. She couldn't even dodge Nux's attack. Let alone the students supporting Candace, even students supporting Nux were surprised by this display. No one said anything, and the battle hall was completely silent. Until... You won! A boy shouted. Big brother, you won! Royce shouted on the top of his lunges. Yeah! Nux won! Then Nux's supporters exclaimed in joy and excitement. I can't believe he defeated the queen, a boy exclaimed. Queen my ass, she's more like a dumb bitch, another boy retorted. Yeah, even I could beat someone as stupid as her. Ha 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 ha. Even some of Candace's supporters started laughing. In just a few minutes, Candace, the queen, turned into a dumb bitch. That is how the popularity worked. There would be people who worship you, but there would also be people who would be jealous of you and would do anything to bring you down. Now, these kinds of people would emerge and wouldn't stop before Candace's image is completely destroyed. Ha 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 ha! Indeed, indeed! She is nothing but a two-faced bitch who thinks that the world revolves around her just because she's a little talented. I knew someone would show that bitch her place. Ha ha ha! At least it was satisfying to watch. Especially when that boy kicked her face and stepped on her arrogant face. Ha ha ha!
The crowd started laughing. Arvina didn't care about it. She just walked toward Candace and gave her a healing potion. Candace took the potion and her face started to return to normal. It was injuries from just a normal wooden sword, something a healing potion would easily deal with. Treat this fight as a lesson. There is always someone better out there, Arvina advised. Yes, teacher. Candace nodded and lowered her head. No matter how dissatisfied she was, she cannot go against her teacher's words. Step. Candace's eyes then fell on familiar-looking shoes. She raised her head and saw Nux standing in front of her. "What do you want?" she questioned in a light tone, not knowing how to deal with him. "Our bet." Nux smiled, and Candace's expression fell. Arvina narrowed her eyes as well. Nux noticed the change in Arvina's expression and smiled. "You're not going to come in between our bet, are you, Teacher Arvina? If you will, just tell me here and I will step back. I can't go against the vice headmaster of the academy with my measly status after all." Arvina glanced at Nux and then she stepped back. Seeing that, Candace's eyes widened in surprise. "Candace Water, get on your knees and rub your nose on the ground while apologizing," Nux ordered in a cold tone. Candace glared at Nux with eyes filled with hatred and rage. "You think you can handle the consequences of that?" Nux's smile widened. "I can. Now do what you are told, bitch." Candace turned silent and lowered her eyes. She could feel it. She could feel every student looking at her with big smiles on their faces. They were looking forward. They were looking forward to seeing the fall of the queen. "Do it! Do it, Candace Water! Get on your knees!" Although no one said anything, Candace could clearly hear their thoughts. In the end, she couldn't take it anymore, and a stream of tears came out of her eyes. "Please let me go. Please change the content of the bet. You want money, right? Tell me how much you want. I will give you anything. Just please," she begged in a low voice. She cannot get on her knees here. Her pride would break apart. Not only that, even her father's pride would take a huge hit. She cannot do that. Nux, however, glanced at her with an expressionless face. "In this world, the weak have no right to say or complain about anything. Do you know why these students aren't helping you? It is because you are weak. You thought that you could use your status and money to get away from our bet. That is how the weak think. Step up yourself. Protect yourself. This is how you live in this world. Do not rely on anything else, because if you do, you will be squashed by the others. I am not wrong. I am only showing you how the world works." Candace's eyes widened in surprise when she heard those words. Familiar. They were very, very familiar sounding. Then Nux's eyes turned cold. "Now get on your knees and rub your nose on the ground, Candace Water."
"Now get on your knees and rub your nose on the ground, Candace Water," Nux ordered coldly. Candace lowered her head in shame, and her body started trembling. The silent battle hall did not help her either. She knew everyone was looking forward to her fall from grace. However, there was nothing she could do about it. She knows that the longer she stalls, the more unbearable it will get. Candace then forced her trembling body to move. Then she placed her knees on the ground, and then she glanced at Nux. Honestly, she was still hoping that he would stop her. Maybe he has a secret crush on her. Maybe he took pity on her. Maybe he doesn't like what she was going to do. Anything random reason was okay. However, what she saw was nothing but an expressionless look that had no signs of discomfort. "I do not have all day." And as if taking away her last hopes, Nux spoke.
Candace's body trembled even more, and then she lowered her head. Her tears fell on the ground, and then her nose touched the ground. I apologize for my actions." Saying that, Candace rubbed her nose on the ground while her body continued to tremble in shame and anger. Then she waited for Nux's reply. She did her part. She just wanted to end everything now. She didn't even dare to look around. She didn't need to look. She could feel those smirks on the faces of students. Those smirks of the people who used to praise her as their queen stabbed her body with immense pain and anger. Nux then turned his head towards the audience, and then his eyes fell on Royce. He nodded at Royce, and the boy nodded back. Then he turned around and walked away. Yes, he did not answer Candace. He didn't care about that bitch one bit. He left her alone. Candace's body trembled even more. However, she didn't say anything. She was too ashamed to do anything. Wait. However, just as Nux was about to leave the battle hall, Arvina called. "Is there anything I can help you with, Teacher Arvina?" Nux questioned with a smile on his face. Arvina then turned towards Candace and instructed, "This is enough. You can stand up now." Candace nodded and stood up as quickly as possible. Then, as if trying to avoid all eyes looking and gloating at her, she walked towards Arvina and stood behind her. Arvina then turned towards Nux. "You must be tired after your fight." "No, not really. She didn't really pose any challenge." Nux shook his head and shrugged his shoulders nonchalantly. "You must be tired after your fight with Candace. Therefore, I won't say anything to you today. However, 2 days later, I want you to come to my office. Is that clear?" Arvina questioned. Hearing her words, Candace's eyes brightened in joy. "Is she going to take revenge for me?" she thought inwardly and rejoiced. However, soon she shook her head. There is no way Teacher is going to do something like that. Nux didn't break any rules today, and Arvina was the last person to show favoritism. Candace knows her teacher well. There is no way she would take her side in this incident. Then Candace frowned. Why is she calling him to his office then? Nux had the same question in his mind. "Can I know what it is for, Teacher Arvina?" he questioned. "Are you scared that I will act against you for the sake of my student?" Arvina questioned with a provocative smile. "No, not really. I've heard about you, Teacher Arvina. You're an honest and just person." Nux shook his head. "Rumors can be wrong, you know." "I trust my source of information," Nux smiled, and then he continued, "Of course, if I'm wrong and you actually do want to take action against me, I can't really do anything to defend myself now, can I? I'm just a powerless commoner after all." A small smile appeared on Arvina's face when she heard Nux's reply. "All right, enough chit-chat. I want you in my office 2 days later. Is that clear?" "Yes, teacher." Nux nodded. Arvina nodded, and then she turned around and left. Candace, of course, followed behind her. There were a lot of things in her mind right now. Also, this is the only place that can save her from immense shame, for now at least. Nux then walked away as well. However, just as he left the battle hall, he saw Yvain standing right in front of him. "Teacher Yvain, I won," he smiled. "I saw. I can't believe you actually did it," Yvain smiled. "Hey, Teacher Yvain, I told you, right? It was a walk in the park." Nux chuckled, and Yvain couldn't help but shake her head. "You do realize what you have done, right?" "Heh, I defeated the Queen of the Academy," Nux answered. "That is true. However, that is not the most surprising part. You defeated a master stage cultivator while being an advanced stage cultivator. Nothing like this has ever happened before. You have created history." "It was not like it was an actual fight, though. We didn't use skills." Nux shrugged. Of course, staying humble is the best way to garner as many compliments as one can get. Ahem. "It doesn't matter.
You defeated a master stage cultivator. This is worth celebrating, Yvain exclaimed in joy. Hey, Teacher Yvain, then are you treating me for food? Aren't you the one who won? Shouldn't you be the one to treat your teacher here? Yvain questioned. All right, I'll treat you, Teacher Yvain. Oh, really? You think I would go back to my words? Nux questioned. Don't regret it then. Heh, I won't, Nux nodded. All right, then let's call the rest of your classmates. Huh? When did I say I will treat them as well? Nux questioned. Huh? They are your classmates, are they not? Yvain frowned. They are, but they are not my favorite teacher. Nux then moved his face close to Yvain and whispered, Teacher Yvain, this offer is exclusive for you and you only. For some reason, a tinge of red appeared on Yvain's face. Then Nux extended his hands towards her and smiled. Shall we go now? All right. Nux then extended his hands towards her and smiled. Shall we go now? All right. Yvain didn't know what was happening. For some reason, when she heard that this deal was exclusive for her, she blushed and stepped back. Nux then moved forward and extended his hands towards her, and her heart started beating for some odd reason. He was just a student offering a treat to her teacher after winning a duel. Why was she acting like that? And since her mind was preoccupied with these weird thoughts, she couldn't think properly and accepted Nux's offer so that she can deal with the awkwardness. She then grabbed the Nux had extended, and the two of them started walking towards the Academy's canteen, while holding each other's hand. This caused Yvain to blush even more. However, since she had already accepted Nux's hand, she couldn't go back on her words anymore. He would feel awkward if she does that. Therefore, Yvain just closed her eyes, tightened her grip around Nux's hand, and continued walking with him. Seeing her expression, Nux smiled. A few minutes later, the two of them were sitting inside the Academy's canteen, and since most of the students were still stuck in the battle hall, the canteen was pretty much empty, giving Yvain and Nux all the privacy they need. This calmed Yvain down as well. Nux then picked up the menu and gave it to Yvain. Teacher Yvain, please order anything you like. Yvain smiled. She then gave her order and then turned towards Nux. What about your little brother? Is he fine now? Or is he still being bullied? Yvain tried her best to act normal. Nux understood what she wanted and smiled. Yes, he is not being bullied anymore. Why didn't you bring him here with us? Yvain questioned. Hindrance, Nux mumbled. What? Yvain couldn't catch what he said. I meant that I want him to be alone for a while and think about his future steps. I can't help him there in this process. I have done all I could. I have given him a big enough example. From here on, it's all on him. Whether he would come out of his shell or remain there for the rest of his life, it all depends on him. I do plan to bring her to his mother, though, Nux answered. You're going to leave with him? Yeah, I'm planning to take a leave for a few days and go with him. I might as well meet his mother now. Yvain nodded, and then questioned, when are you going to leave? 2 days later, after I meet teacher Arvina. Huh? Suddenly, Yvain frowned. She had already left when Nux won. She didn't have the heart to see a student going on her knees, even though that student disrespected her. Therefore, she didn't know anything about Arvina's instructions. Why would you go there? She questioned. Nux then told her everything that happened, and then Yvain frowned even more. Why would she tell you to come to her office? Seeing her expression, Nux frowned. Why are you acting so weirdly, Teacher Yvain? Teacher Arvina isn't planning to do anything to me, is she? He questioned. Hearing his question, Yvain shook her head. Don't worry, she is fair and just. She won't harm you if you don't provoke her. Usually, she just gives any man a cold shoulder, even if it is her student. Of course, if you have any doubt, then she will answer your queries regardless of your gender. However, if you say anything useless, she will ignore you. The reason I'm so surprised was that she has never called for a male student inside her office on her own. This is the first time. Ah,
Was she charmed by my handsome face? Nux questioned with a playful smile. Yvain then looked at him with a deadpan expression on her face as she warned, "Yes, this is a good example. She usually ignores statements like these, so don't say anything like this to her if you don't want a cold shoulder." I got it. So, in conclusion, Teacher Yvain is the best teacher one can get. Nux nodded. "I don't know how you came to that conclusion, but thank you." Yvain smiled a little. "Teacher Yvain, can you give me some tips on how to not annoy Teacher Arvina? That would be helpful. I would rather not lose my life there." "Look at you acting all scared," Yvain chuckled. "She's not a bloodthirsty monster. Don't worry, she won't harm you." "I don't want any cold shoulders either," Nux muttered. "Come on, Teacher Yvain, help your favorite student," Nux requested. Yvain shook her head in defeat and sighed. "Look, dealing with Teacher Arvina is easy. You go there, she asks you a question, and you answer it in the shortest way possible, without any useless words. Then she asks you a few more questions, you answer them all, and you come back. Simple." That's rather vague," Nux muttered, with a frown. "Well, that is the only way to do things. As I said, as long as you don't say anything useless, you'll be fine." "It's not like I say anything useless anyway, do I?" Nux smiled innocently, and seeing that innocent smile, Yvain shook her head. "Why do I feel that this meeting of yours won't be any good?" Don't worry, Teacher Yvain. I promise you, this meeting would be so good that Teacher Arvina would even praise me many, many times." Nux smiled, and Yvain, she felt like Nux's words had another meaning behind them. Arvina Skyfall was the vice headmaster of the Royal Academy, so of course she was different from other teachers. Therefore, when they say Teacher Arvina's office, they don't mean a single room with a table and a few papers. They're talking about a fucking mansion that has servants working everywhere. And right now, Nux was standing in front of this big mansion. "Is there anything I can help you with?" As Nux was walking inside, a servant came up to him and questioned him. Nux was about to nod, however, then his eyes fell on someone and he smiled. "I was called here by Teacher Arvina, but you don't have to worry. I know how to get to her office." "All right." The servant nodded and then walked away. Nux smiled. He then walked towards a certain blue-haired girl who was swinging her sword without stopping. It has been 2 days after Candace's spar with Nux and Candace's fall from grace. The news about Candace's defeat has already spread all over the academy. Heck, it has even left the academy, and most of the noble houses have learned about it. Of course, this piece of news wasn't alone. It came with how Candace lowered her head in front of a commoner. Not only that, but why and how the battle started was told to everyone as well. However, this time, Candace was the villain. Protecting the bullies just because he was the younger brother of her subordinate, fighting against someone who only took revenge to the person being bullied, defaming Teacher Yvain. All these charges came together and completely destroyed the image she has created for so many years. As they say, the higher you rise, the harder you fall. Candace's situation was a prime example of that. And that is why Candace hasn't left her teacher's mansion for 2 days now. She has decided that she won't make a public appearance as long as she becomes an expert stage cultivator. That is the only way she can wash away her shame. As for taking revenge, well, she was thinking of ways to get her revenge. However, 2 days ago, Arvina visited her room at the night and warned, "Do not do anything foolish." This was the first time Arvina warned her about anything, and with how scary her eyes looked, Candace knew that he was pissed. Therefore, Candace pledged to not do something stupid. She can take her revenge when she is an expert stage cultivator and is stronger than her teacher. However, before that, she would just lay low and won't talk to anyone else. Of course, not everything works in the way you want it to work. "Yo, ex-queen of the academy?" "How are you doing, bitch?" Candace heard a voice. Then she turned round and saw the face of the man she absolutely hate to her core. "What is it?" she questioned. As for his provocation, no, she won't give in. "What? Did I hit you too hard by any chance? Did you get dumber in these 2 days?" Candace's face twitched. However, she still controlled herself and questioned. "What do you want?" "Damn, you really got dumber, huh?" "Well, whatever. I'm here to meet Teacher Arvina," Nux answered. Then Candace finally recalled that her teacher invited this bastard here. "You can ask the servant working there. He will take you to her office." "Ah, but he's working. I didn't want to disturb him," Nux muttered. "Don't look at me." Candace then looked at Nux for a while and then pointed at another servant. "What about that servant? He isn't doing anything." "She looked like she was having a rest after working so hard, so I didn't want to bother her either," Nux answered. "Do I look free to you?" Candace questioned. "Well, yeah, you were just practicing your sword techniques, so I thought you were free." Candace's face twitched. She took deep breaths to control herself, and then she forced out a smile. "Do you think practicing sword techniques is being free? Do you think it is useless?" "Well, not really, but for someone like you, isn't it useless? I mean, you lost to an advanced stage cultivator while being a master stage cultivator." Nux answered. "Follow me," Candace roared, and then she started walking. Nux chuckled and followed behind her. Then the two of them appeared in front of a room and Candace glared at Nux. "Go inside. Teacher is inside." Then she walked away. "Fucking bastard. Just let me become an expert stage cultivator. Once I do, even that Marky wouldn't be able to do anything. Fuck you!" After coming back to where she was training, Candace roared in anger. It was completely impossible to hold back in front of that bastard. What a poisonous tongue that bastard has. Candace then picked up her sword and started swinging it angrily. On the other hand, Nux knocked on the door and heard a voice. "Who is it?" "Nux Leander," Nux answered, without any introduction. His face wasn't that forgettable, was it? "Come in." It wasn't. A smile appeared on Nux's face as he entered Arvina's office. "Hello, Teacher Arvina," Nux greeted with a smile on his face. Right now, Arvina was sitting on her chair, wearing a white shirt and black vest-key half jacket over the top. Her left leg was on the top of her right, and she looked at Nux with her fairy brown-red eyes. "You are here?" "I would be a fool to not come when you called me, Teacher Arvina," Nux answered, and if Yvain was here, she would have shaken her head and would have sighed. "I only gave you one suggestion. That was to not speak useless things in front of her. How hard is that? How can you not follow such a simple advice?" Arvina raised her eyebrows at Nux's words. However, she decided to ignore them. "Good." Nux nodded, and then he smiled. "So can I know what you called me for, Teacher Arvina?" Then Arvina stood up from her seat and walked towards Nux. "Nux Leander, I want you to spar with me."
"Nux Leander, I want you to spar with me," Arvina muttered as she stood up from her seat and walked towards Nux. "Huh?" Nux frowned, and then he smiled. "Teacher Arvina, there are better ways to take revenge for your student, you know. I mean, you, as an expert stage cultivator asking an advanced stage cultivator to spar is a little... Trust me, if I wanted to take revenge, I would have beheaded you right here and right now, and no one would have said anything to me," Arvina retorted. Nux turned silent. Just like Amaya said, this woman was too direct and her hatred for men was apparent. I mean, what sane teacher talks about beheading her student right in front of him? Someone like Arvina can easily overwhelm a normal student just by her presence. Of course, Nux was different. No matter how dominant Arvina's aura was, there was no way she could overwhelm someone who was stronger than her.
What do I get in return? Nux questioned. Huh? Arvina frowned. What do you mean? Sparring with you isn't exactly easy, Teacher Arvina. If I do it, what will I get in return? Nux questioned. Of course, you can also threaten me with your status and strength, but rather than going through that troublesome process, it is just better to just bribe me with something. Arvina narrowed her eyes. Don't you value your life, or do you like getting threatened by others? Nux chuckled. Of course I value my life, however, I won't be threatened by others. Nux narrowed his eyes as well. I would rather die than live like a coward. Arvina was taken aback by his response. However, soon a small smile appeared on her face before it disappeared the next second. Of course, that second was enough for Nux to catch it. Got it. He smiled inwardly when he noticed that smile. It was a long shot, but he was successful in the end. Arvina Skyfall was a warrior. What does a warrior like the most? Pride and fearlessness. Of course, Nux calls it arrogance and foolishness, but if it impresses Arvina even a little, then they are pride and fearlessness. What do you want? If it is something reasonable, I will give it to you, Arvina replied. I want you to become my teacher. Huh? Arvina was taken aback. Fighting against Candace made me realize that I might not be as good as I think I am. My swordsmanship is unrefined, so I want you to teach me. Nux explained his reasoning. Now, he wasn't doing this just because he wanted to spend more time with Arvina. Well, that was 90% of the reason. However, the other 10% was because he actually wanted to learn from her. So what he said was genuine, and Arvina sensed that and nodded. It is good that you can think about improving yourself even after winning the match against Candace. Nux shook his head. She wasn't someone who can be seen as a threshold. There are a lot stronger people than her out there. She was just too weak. There is no point celebrating a victory against someone like her. You do realize that she is my student, correct? Arvina narrowed her eyes. Bad student, Nux answered. Arrogant, selfish, and wastes a lot of time on useless stuff. Queen of the Academy? What kind of bullshit is that? Whenever you see her, you find her walking around with a few of her dogs following behind her. A girl who has no understanding of how the world works and just likes to live in that fake kingdom she has created in her own mind. She is the prime example of a bad student. I, however, am different. At the very least, I won't lose to some random student, even whom I have challenged on my own, and spoil your name. Nux answered, and a smile appeared on Arvina's face, and this time her smile did not disappear. All right, I'll take you as my personal student. Nux smiled. However, before he could complete, Arvina brought her face dangerously close to his and smiled. However, your words have made me a little too excited, so if you fail to live up to my expectations, do not even think about getting away scratch-free. For some reason, Nux's heart skipped a beat when he heard those words. Gulp? He gulped. He felt that he has done something he shouldn't have done. However, he soon came back to his senses and nodded. I will not disappoint you, teacher. Arvina finally backed away, and then her face turned serious. All right, now as your teacher, I would like to point out a few things I found about your fighting style. As you said, your fighting style is unrefined. You are not well trained. You were not taught by anyone. Of course, since you were a commoner, I would say that you had no one to teach you. Whatever you know comes from experience. You have used your sword and fought many life-threatening battles. If I were to guess, you have visited Blood Hill Wilder a few times and trained there. Am I correct? Nux blinked a few times and then he nodded. Arvina smiled and continued, fighting against humans and star beasts is completely different. Humans are intelligent, while star beasts have a fixed pattern. Humans are unpredictable, and every human has a different fighting style. This is why whenever you fight against a human, you would realize that some of your moves, that the star beasts generally won't block, will be blocked and countered by humans. That is why you feel your fighting style is unrefined. You lack training, so finding a teacher was a wise decision. Nux nodded in agreement. Suddenly, a wooden sword appeared in Arvina's hand, and she pointed it at Nux. I also have another theory in my mind, however, I am still not sure about this. That is the reason why I wanted you to spar with me.
Huh? Is she actually avenging me? Are my eyes playing any tricks on me? No. There is no way teacher would do something like that. Wait, did he somehow offend her with her words? That does sound like something that could happen. His tongue is poisonous indeed. A small smile appeared on Candace's face as she watched Arvina and Nux standing in front of her with wooden swords in their hands. Heh, you finally get what you deserve, you bastard, Candace laughed inwardly. Actually, she wanted to laugh out loud. However, if she did, her teacher would find where she was hiding and would change the location. She was now sure that her teacher was a shy type of person. She won't help her in front of her. However, she would avenge her behind her back. Hee, her teacher was amazing. Candace laughed inwardly and looked forward to this battle. Shall we start now? Arvina questioned. Yes, teacher, Nux answered. All right, attack me with everything you got, Arvina instructed. Nux nodded, and then he rushed towards Arvina and aimed at her head. Arvina, of course, blocked the attack with her sword. Nux didn't give up. Another sword appeared in his left hand and he attacked her waist. Arvina raised her eyebrow in surprise, and then she stepped back and dodged the attack. You use 2 swords? Arvina questioned in surprise. I use anything I can to defeat my opponent. Swords, daggers, spears, stones, fist, anything, Nux answered, and a smile appeared on Arvina's face. All right, come at me then. Nux nodded, and then he dashed towards her again. He first aimed at her feet. Arvina raised her leg to dodge the attack. Having already anticipated that, Nux stepped forward and attacked her other leg. Or so he wanted to. However, there was already a sword that was placed on his neck, forcing him to stop. Don't just think about your own tactics. Think about what your opponent might do as well. You gave me too much time here. Nux nodded and stepped back. He then dashed towards her again and repeated the same move. Arvina raised her leg to dodge, and this time Nux crouched and tried to attack her remaining leg with his right leg. Arvina, however, stepped aside and placed her sword on Nux's neck again. Or not. Before she could do so, Nux crawled over and created some distance between the two of them. Arvina didn't want to miss this opportunity, so she rushed toward him. However, Nux quickly threw dust on her face, trying to blind her. Of course, this trick doesn't work against someone like Arvina. She quickly stepped away and waited for Nux to stand up. Despicable attack, she smiled. As I said, I'll do anything to win. I'm not a noble knight, Nux answered, and although Arvina didn't like this answer and what Nux did, she accepted it. It made his story feel more real. Tactics like these are what many adventurers who hunt star beasts use, so she had expected something like this from Nux. You are a lot stronger than I expected. Candace stood no chance against you, Arvina muttered. As I said, defeating her wasn't anything to celebrate. Candace wasn't even a competition, Nux smiled, and Candace, who heard everything from afar, gnashed her teeth. Hateful bastard, I hope you die as painfully as possible. All right, now I will be the one attacking you. Get ready, Arvina muttered, and a smile appeared on Candace's face. Even teacher didn't like what that bastard said, huh? Arvina then rushed towards Nux. Of course, it was a spar, so she didn't use her full speed. She was an expert stage cultivator. There is no way an advanced stage cultivator would be able to defeat her. Therefore, she held herself back. She aimed at Nux's waist. Nux reacted quickly and moved his body. Then he tried to aim at Arvina's neck. The best defense was an attack.
However, this time, Arvina didn't step back like before. She just tilted her head a little, and then she attacked Nux's shoulder. She didn't lose this lead. She moved her sword and targeted Nux's knee. Her speed was not fast, it was similar to Nux's speed. However, her attacks were still hard to dodge. Nux was barely hanging on, and that was because his senses were a lot stronger than normal. He was a Grand Master stage cultivator after all. Nux dodged Arvina's attack and saved his knee. Then he used his sword's hilt to attack Arvina's neck. Arvina shifted her body and let him attack her shoulder instead. At the same time, she punched Nux's chest. Nux reacted quickly. However, he noticed that there was nothing he could do to stop this punch. His right hand was near Arvina's face, while his left hand, well, it was completely out of the battle area, since he was trying to summon another sword in that hand. In the end, Nux could only tilt his body a little, and the punch connected. Ugh! Nux groaned in pain as he was forced to take a few steps back. "That really hurts," he complained. However, he frowned when he saw the surprised look on Arvina's face. Suddenly, Arvina disappeared from where she was standing. Nux's eyes widened in surprise. He quickly turned around and blocked her attack with his sword. Arvina, however, wasn't done yet. She dragged her sword down and attacked Nux's feet. Nux wanted to do a backflip to dodge that attack. However, his cultivation was restricted. His body couldn't react as fast as his mind, and Arvina's sword hit his ankle. Ah! Nux grabbed his ankle and jumped a few times, trying to cope with the pain. "Teacher Arvina, that really hurts," he complained. However, he frowned when he saw the surprised look on Arvina's face. Soon, the surprised look disappeared, and she closed her eyes. "As I expected," she muttered. "What?" Nux frowned. Then Arvina opened her eyes and glared at Nux. "You are not an advanced stage cultivator. What is your actual cultivation?"
You are not an advanced stage cultivator. What is your actual cultivation? Arvina questioned as she narrowed her eyes. Huh? What are you talking about? How can one hide his cultivation? And why would I even do that? Nux frowned. Was Trickster not working anymore? Was he out of mana? No, he still has plenty. Then how did she find out? Don't try to hide it from me. I don't know how you did it, but I'm sure you are hiding your original cultivation. Nux muttered, and Nux frowned even more. His trickster was working fine. Then how? Your reaction speed is a lot faster than normal. Your eyes react to changes a lot sooner, and your body is often unable to catch up to your senses. This only happens when one suppresses his powers. I noticed something like that earlier with your battle with Candace as well. However, I still wasn't sure about it at that time. Now, however, I am 100% sure you are hiding your cultivation. Nux turned silent. He didn't know he would be exposed too soon. He has barely been in this academy for 2 weeks. Just how can someone do something so badly? Nux, you didn't answer my question yet. What is your actual cultivation? Arvina questioned again. This time, Nux knew he couldn't hide it, therefore he just sighed. I would rather talk to you alone, teacher. Huh? What do you mean? Arvina frowned. Nux then turned his head towards Candace and muttered, Come out. Candace panicked. How did that bastard find me? She wondered in her head. However, she didn't move. That bastard might be bluffing. She won't fall for that. She wasn't stupid. Are you trying to change the topic? Arvina frowned. Nux then sighed. Candace, I can see your shoes. Come out now. Of course, he didn't see any shoes. His sense warned him the moment Candace decided to hide herself behind the bush. He knew she was here from the beginning, but didn't care enough to say anything. Now, however, things were different. This time, Candace's body flinched and she moved a little. This little movement was enough for Arvina to know that someone was hiding behind that bush. Candace, come out now,
she instructed in a strict tone, and Candace finally stepped out and appeared in front of them. "What are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to go practice your sword techniques?" I saw you two coming here and got curious," Candace answered. Arvina sighed in defeat, and then she turned towards Nux. "I need to talk to you about something. Follow me to my office." She then turned towards Candace. "As for you," Arvina wanted to tell her to go back and practice again. However, in the end, she just sighed. "Do whatever you want. I don't really care." It was not like Candace would hear what she will say. Just like Nux said, she was too arrogant and often neglects her training because of how talented she is. Disappointing indeed. Thinking that, Arvina turned around and walked away. Seeing her like that, Nux smiled a little. If Arvina wasn't here, he would have thanked Candace for proving his earlier words and being the bad student. Now all he needs to do is become a good student and get close to Arvina Skyfall. "Eehee! Candace is a true friend indeed," Nux thought in his mind, and followed behind Arvina. As for Candace, well, since her teacher told her to do whatever she wanted, she walked towards the room provided to her by her teacher and jumped on the bed. She was too tired after swinging her sword all day. "Tis, tis, can't Teacher Arvina teach me new moves already?" She snorted inwardly. However, then a serious look appeared on her face. And what was Teacher Arvina talking about? Nux was hiding his cultivation? What does that mean? And how can one hide his cultivation? Is that even possible? Or was Teacher trying to say something else? Candace frowned, and then a determined look appeared on her face. "I need to learn more about this." Wait, suddenly Candace realized something. What happened to Teacher Arvina avenging me? On the other side, inside Arvina's room, Arvina glanced at Nux and questioned again. "All right, now we are alone. Answer me. What is your real cultivation?" Nux sighed. While walking to the office, he thought about a few things, and in the end he came up with a conclusion. He needed Arvina Skyfall's help in the future when he deals with Asteria Skyfall. Therefore, his relation with Arvina should be strong. Also, he has interacted with Arvina for a while. She seemed trustworthy. Therefore, he decided to tell her the truth. He was hoping that she would keep it to herself. He still wants to attend the academy after all. Also, when there is a secret between two people, it is natural that they will get closer to each other. Nux smiled inwardly as he thought about it. He then deactivated his trickster and his cultivation returned to normal. And seeing his cultivation, Arvina's eyes widened in surprise. "Gee, Grand Master Stage Cultivator?" She couldn't believe her eyes. "How old are you?" she questioned. "I will turn 19 soon," Nux answered, and Arvina's eyes widened even more. "A 19-year-old Grand Master Stage Cultivator? What kind of monstrous talent is that? You are 19? Arvina stuttered. Nux nodded. He was actually 18, but whatever. "What is your elemental affinity? It's written high here, but I'm sure that is incorrect." "Exceptional," Nux answered. "Exceptional?" "Yes, exceptional level affinity for all 4 elements," Nux revealed, and Arvina just couldn't believe what she was hearing. Candace, a 22-year-old master stage cultivator, exceptional level affinity with water element, was treated as the future pillar of the kingdom. But this, what the hell is this? A 19-year-old Grand Master Stage Cultivator? Exceptional level affinity with fire, water, wind, and earth? All 4 elements? Just what kind of absurdity is that? Monster. A complete monster. However, soon a frown appeared on Arvina's face. "Why did you hide it?"
"Why did you hide it?" Arvina questioned with a frown on her face. A wry smile appeared on Nux's face as he answered. "Teacher Arvina, think with me. An 18-year-old, Grand Master Stage Cultivator with exceptional level affinities with all 4 elements, with no background whatsoever.
What do you think would happen if this is revealed? Do you think that I will be praised by others? Arvina turned silent. Do you think they will make me the king of the academy and then the future pillar of the kingdom? Nooks questioned, and Arvina stayed silent. What do you think will happen, teacher? Nooks questioned again. You will be killed, Arvina answered. She knows it better than anyone else. Nooks's talent has never been seen before. Never. There would be many who would covet this talent. There would be many who would be jealous of his talents. There would be many who would try to recruit this talent. However, at the same time, once Nooks is recruited, there would be many who would try to get rid of this talent to avoid any future troubles. Even if he is recruited by the royal family, the strongest power in the kingdom, where no one would dare to cause him any harm, there would still be many inside the royal family who would try to get rid of him. There would be many assassins sent by other kingdoms who would try to get rid of him. Heck, there are chances that the king would feel threatened by his talent and would try to get rid of him. All in all, the chances of Nooks surviving after revealing his talent to the world were close to null. Thinking about all this, another question popped into Arvina's mind. You could have easily refused to answer the question, and I would have no choice but to let it go. Why did you tell me something so important? Why are you risking your life? A small smile appeared on Nooks's face as he answered. You are my teacher. I can trust you enough to keep this a secret, can I not? Arvina blinked a few times, and then a beautiful smile appeared on her stern-looking face. You can. You can trust your teacher, Nooks Leander. Nooks smiled. However, soon he noticed that Arvina's smile widened. However, don't think you will be living a comfortable life anymore, Nooks. You wanted to train under me, correct? Get ready for hell, because I will polish a refined gem like you with everything I have, and unlike Candace, I won't let you slack off at all. Arvina smiled even more. Gulp? Nooks gulped. Teacher Arvina, I have a request, he muttered in a low voice. What is it? Arvina questioned. I need a leave for a week. Teacher? Teacher? Arvina looked at Nooks with a deadpan expression. Just after you made me your teacher? It's important, Teacher Arvina. I promise to train as hard as I can once I return, Nooks promised. Arvina then thought about it a little and then questioned, Can you tell me where are you going? You know why I fought Candace, correct? Nooks questioned. Not really. That girl didn't tell me and changed the topic whenever I asked her about it. There are people talking about it everywhere, but I would rather not believe in rumors. Nooks smiled disdainfully. Of course she didn't tell you. Let me tell you what happened then. Nooks then told Arvina about how Candace first sided with Oswald, how she entered Yvain's class, how she acted, and how things proceeded after that. The more Arvina listened, the colder her eyes got. The weak doesn't have the right to complain, she growled. Her anger was clear in her eyes. Just because you were talented and have people protecting you from behind, you dare say arrogant words like these? Who does she think she is? She's merely a master stage cultivator right now. By her concept, should every grand master stage cultivator bully her then? How the hell would people of this world get stronger if everyone restricts and continue to bully them? What kind of fucked up logic is that? Also, how dare she talk to a teacher like that? Who gave her the galls to do something like that? She continued, and then she shook her head. Negligent. I have been too negligent. Arvina then turned towards Nooks. All right, you take that boy to his mother. I'll give you 1 week. Also, you don't need to apply for any leaves. I'll handle that for you. As for me, Arvina's eyes turned cold as she growled. I need to fix someone, and I need some time to do that. I guess a week will be enough. A smile appeared on Nooks's face as he nodded. All right, teacher, I will be back in a week. Arvina's cold expression turned into a smile, and she nodded. Enjoy as much as you want, my student. Your days, once you return, won't be very good. I will look forward to it. Nooks nodded, and after a bow, he left Arvina's office. Then he walked towards Royce's room and muttered, "All right, we will be leaving the academy." "Huh? Why? Didn't you win? Are they pressuring you?" Royce questioned with a worried look on his face. "Oh, come on, don't worry, kid. Nothing like that is happening. I just want to see your mother." "Huh? I mean, don't you want to meet your mother?" A big smile appeared on Royce's face. However, soon that smile disappeared. He didn't want to tell him anything that happened to his mother. He didn't want to show his pathetic side to his mother. "You have to tell her, Royce. This is the only way you can make a stronger comeback. Treat this as a setback of your life." Then a determined look appeared on Royce's face, and he nodded. "All right, let's go meet Mother."
"Mom!" Royce exclaimed in joy as he dashed towards Felberta with a big smile on his face. Felberta got on her knees and extended her hands toward him with a smile on her face. Royce then ran into Felberta's embrace and hugged her with his little arms. "Mom, I missed you." "Oh, you did? Then why didn't you come and meet me last year?" Felberta questioned as she raised her eyebrow. Of course, anyone who saw this scene would be able to tell how happy she was when they would look at that smile on her face. Royce didn't answer her question and continued to hug her. Felberta chuckled and shook her head as she continued patting his head. A few minutes later, Royce finally separated from Felberta, and then, "Sister Skyla!" he exclaimed as he hugged Skyla's legs. "Hee, you finally got time to visit your sister, eh? And here I thought you forgot about me." Skyla patted his head with a smile. "How can I forget about you, Sister Skyla?" Royce laughed out loud. He then turned towards Lane and hugged her as well. "Sister Lane!" "Welcome back, Sir Royce." Lane nodded with a smile and patted his head as well. Then Royce started looking around and his eyes fell on Edda. Since he didn't know her, he just bowed his head. "Fufu, what a cute little boy," Edda chuckled. Royce smiled, and then he walked back towards his mother. Edda's eyes then turned towards Nux, and she smiled. "Ah, Mr. Nux, you must be tired. Let me help you remove your clothes in the bathroom." Saying that, she walked towards him. She didn't know that boy named Royce, and in all honesty, she didn't care much about him either. Skyla, Lane, and Felberta were different, though. They knew the boy and were very happy to see this. Therefore, Edda saw this as an opportunity to spend time with Nux all she wants. She was smart indeed. However, before she could even get close to her, Skyla moved and grabbed Nux's arm. "Ah, Miss Edda, you don't have to worry. You are a guest here. I, on the other hand, am the maid of this mansion. Let me do all these miscellaneous works, like removing Mr. Nux's clothes. You can go ahead and rest," Skyla muttered with her usual gentle smile on her face. Edda's face twitched. However, she still kept a smile on her face and answered, "Ah, don't worry. I can see how much you missed this little boy here. You don't have to work. You should spend time with the boy. I'll do all the work." Then Edda used all her brain and turned towards Royce and said, "You would like to spend some time with your sister Skyla as well, right, little boy?" Yeah." However, before Royce could even answer, Skyla interrupted. "Ah, he wants to spend time with his mother. I will talk to him later. Mothers are always a priority, right, Royce?" Skyla questioned. "Yeah," Royce nodded. Skyla smiled and then turned towards Edda. "See that, Miss Edda? So don't worry and rest. Let me do all the work. I'm used to it after all." Skyla beamed with happiness. She liked Royce as well. However, comparing him with Nux, Skyla didn't even need to think. Nux won by a large margin. She would rather spend more time with Nux. Edda's face twitched again. She was about to reply. However, both she and Skyla then heard Felberta's voice in their heads. "Guys, can you control yourself a little? You're making him a little uncomfortable." "I apologize, Sister Felberta." Skyla apologized.
I apologize as well. Etta did the same. Sister Etta, how about we both go with Nux? Skyla questioned. Yeah, that seems to be a good idea. Etta nodded and then she smiled. All right, there's no use fighting like this. How about we both go together? Fighting is useless. All right, Nux, come with us. We will show you where the bathroom is. Skyla turned towards Nux and smiled. Sir Royce, Skyla is right. You should spend more time with your mother. Suddenly, Lane spoke up as well. Then she turned towards Felberta and bowed. Lady Felberta, I still need to wash some clothes in the bathroom, so I will be taking my leave too. Not you either, Felberta groaned. These people are too horny. They should try to control themselves. It is not good to be this angry. Lane just smiled and then turned around. Her thoughts matched Skyla's. She liked Royce, however, that's it. He was nowhere near Nux. Also, she has been waiting for this day for more than a week now. She couldn't hold back. She then followed Nux and others. Nux then turned around and his eyes met Felberta's. A serious look appeared on his face and he muttered, Fel, this is important. Talk to him. He wants to tell you something. Felberta frowned. Then she turned towards Royce, and one glance was all it took for her to know that he wanted to talk about something. She then turned towards Nux and nodded with a frown on her face. She had rarely seen Nux making a face like that. This looked serious. Royce, is there anything you want to share with your mother? She questioned as she ruffled Royce's hair. Royce then lowered his head, and then a determined look appeared on his face. Mother, I want to tell you about the last year I spent in the academy. I'm listening. And on the other side, Nux finished telling everything that Royce has been through in the academy, and Skyla, Lane, and Etta had solemn looks on their faces. What are we going to do? Skyla questioned. Nux, however, shook his head. It all depends on Felberta. We will do whatever she says. Then a cold look appeared on his face. Even if it means that we have to destroy Borky family. At the same time, Nux heard Felberta's voice in his head. Nux, please come to my room.
Nux, please come to my room. Nux heard Felberta's voice in his mind. He then turned towards Etta, Lane, and Skyla and muttered, Let's go. The three of them nodded and then left the room they were in. Nux then used his sense and quickly found where Felberta was. The three girls followed behind Nux with a serious look on their faces, and a minute later, the four of them entered Felberta's room. There, Felberta was sitting with Royce sleeping on her lap. She looked at Nux, and seeing her face, something inside Nux snapped. Felberta's eyes were moist, and from the dried tears marks left on Felberta's face, Nux could easily tell that Felberta had been crying for a while now. Nux narrowed his eyes. He noticed that there was a different light in Felberta's eyes. He understood. She does not want him to talk about her crying. Therefore, Nux stayed silent. Following him, the other three women in the room stayed silent as well. The whole room was enshrouded in a layer of silence for a good while. I want revenge. 2 minutes later, Felberta broke the silence. What do you want to do? Nux questioned. Then, without any change in her expression, Felberta answered, I want to destroy Berkey's. Nux took a deep breath, and then he nodded. All right. Although she might not show it, Felberta was petty. Extremely petty. A few years earlier, she destroyed an earl's life just because he tried to drug her. That man didn't even succeed, however Felberta still destroyed him just because he dared to attempt something like this. Today, she learns that someone has been harassing, hitting, bullying, and humiliating her only child for a whole fucking year. There was no way she would sit back and forget about it. All right, let's move, Nux muttered. Now? Felberta frowned.
"I want to end this before tomorrow," Nux answered. Then a small smile appeared on his face as he questioned, "You do not want to just kill the Berkeys, do you?" Felberta smiled back. Her answer was clear. "On the second thought, you stay here with Royce. I'll prepare everything," Nux muttered. Felberta wanted to counter, however, before she could say anything, Nux answered, "Don't worry, I will call you when it's the finale." Saying that, Nux turned around and left. A small smile appeared on Felberta's face, and then she continued to pat Royce's head. "Amaya, I need your help." Nux, who just walked out of Felberta's room, contacted Amaya. "What can I help you with?" Again, the response was instantaneous. Nux then told her everything and then muttered, "Killing the Berkeys is too merciful for them. I want them to suffer as much as they can." Amaya turned silent and started thinking. Nux waited for her reply. He knew she was thinking about a plan. Planning and scheming, Amaya was an expert in this field. She has been doing it since she was a child, after all. Of course, this doesn't mean that Nux wasn't thinking anything. He was thinking of a plan as well. Then he would compare the two plans and would choose the one that would be the most painful for the Berkeys. Yes, Berkeys fucked up. And they fucked up badly. 2 hours passed by in a moment, and then Nux heard Amaya's voice in his head. "Baron Crook." "Huh?" Nux frowned. Earl Bishni Berkey used his status to threaten Baron Crook's daughter and forced her to entertain him. The humiliation was too much for the girl to bear, and she took her own life. This enraged Baron Crook. However, he was powerless to do anything. He couldn't touch Berkey. However, he bore a deep resentment in his heart. Amaya muttered. She had an advantage. As the leader of the 1,000 Information Chamber, she has all the information she needed to come up with her plans. This time was the same. She used her advantage well. "Nux, go to Alger and make him write a letter." An evil smirk appeared on Nux's face when he heard Amaya's plan. "I'll do as you say." "I'm sorry, this is all I can help you with." Amaya muttered with a sad look on her face. "Don't worry, this is more than enough. Thank you." A smile appeared on Amaya's face. Nux, on the other hand, didn't waste any time and rushed towards Alger's mansion. Then he made him write the letter Amaya wanted, and then he wore skin-tight black-colored assassin's clothes, covered his face, and he rushed to Baron Crook's house. He didn't waste a single second. He wanted to do everything as soon as possible. Baron Crook was a 60-year-old man, and since he wasn't a cultivator, his hair was white, and there were lots of wrinkles on his face. He gave off a gloomy aura and looked like someone who have already lost everything in his life. Right now, this man was working in his office with a tired, dull look on his face. Beside him stood his butler, who was a beginner-stage cultivator. Nux Bun appeared behind the butler, and with one hand chop, the butler passed out. Thud. The Baron's eyes widened in surprise when he saw a black-clothed man appear inside his office without making any sounds at all. Who sent you?" the Baron questioned with a pale face. "Do you hate Earl Bishni Berkey?" Hearing that name, the fear on the Baron's face was replaced with immense rage. "I absolutely despise that bastard. He dared to do that to my only daughter." "Yeah, I don't care what he did." Nux shrugged, and then his eyes shined. "Do you want revenge?" All the gloominess surrounding Baron Crook disappeared, and his deadpan eyes were now filled with unwavering determination. "If I can destroy that bastard, I would do it even if it costs my life." A smile appeared on Nux's face when he heard that. Then he gave the letter Alger wrote to Baron Crook and instructed, "Send this letter to that Berkey." Can I read what it is?" Baron Crook held the letter as if it was the most precious treasure and questioned. "Go ahead." With a serious look on his face, Baron Crook opened the letter, and once he started reading it, his eyes widened in surprise. Then an intense light shone within his eyes as he continued to read it. Seeing his expression changing from confused to surprise to a happy smile and then a wicked smile, Nux chuckled inwardly. This man really hated Berkey's bastard. He hated him to his core. "Where did you get this letter from?" Baron Crook turned towards Nux and questioned. Are you sure it is not fake?" Nux smiled and then questioned. "Are you scared?" "Berkey bastard isn't a problem, but with this letter we will be targeted by Marquis Alger as well, and I don't know if Marquis Lange will protect us or not." Baron Crook muttered as his body trembled in fear. Was that the extent you would go to avenge your daughter?" Nux tilted his head and smiled. "Is that it?" Suddenly, Baron Crook's body stopped trembling. "What is the worst thing that can happen? You will be killed, right? So what? Can't you give up on your life for your daughter? You can't do it? Too scared? Then why act like someone who has lost everything after losing your daughter? Why not make another one?" Baron Crook's eyes turned cold. Then he glanced at the man in front of him and started thinking. He didn't know who this man was. He could very well be a lackey of a big shot who is seeing him nothing but a chess piece and is making use of him. However, so what? If he can avenge his daughter, then being a chess piece for the bigger plot is nothing. Even if this plot kills him, even if this plot destroys this kingdom, he would do it. Baron Crook glanced at Nux with his eyes shining in determination. Thud. Then the old man fell to his knees and bowed his head. "I will do anything you say, even if helping me avenge isn't your main goal and you just want to use me as a chess piece who you would get rid of later. I don't care. I only want one thing, the downfall of Earl Berkey. I beg you." "But why are you acting like I'm the bad guy? Oi, I'm here to help you, okay? Just do as I say and I will make Berkey weak enough that even you can get rid of him if you play your future moves correctly." A big smile appeared on Baron Crook's face. Then he raised his head and questioned, "What do I have to do?" Nux smiled as well. "Hatred is indeed the best fuel. Write a letter to Earl Berkey." A paper appeared on Crook's hand. Then he sat on his chair and questioned, "What do I write?" Nux smiled, and then he started speaking. "To Earl Bishney Berkey, I hope you are doing well in your life.